Chapter 31. Parent-Teacher Night. After arriving at school, Jacob parked his car and got out with Allison. They walked toward the building, and Allison said, "I have to go find my mom and dad." They sounded really pissed on the phone. Jacob raised an eyebrow. "Remind me again, why did you leave your phone in the car?" "No wonder they're pissed. They called you so many times and you didn't answer." Allison, flustered, said, "I just forgot." "Okay." Jacob smirked. "Well, good luck then." Allison grinned. "You too. You've got to talk to Mr. Harris, remember?" Jacob groaned. I hate that guy." Allison leaned in and kissed him on the cheek. "That's for luck." She walked off to find her parents while Jacob headed for the principal's office. When he arrived, he knocked on the door. "Come in." The principal called. Jacob stepped inside. "Good evening, principal." "Good evening, Alexander." The principal said, folding his hands. "I heard you skipped class today." Jacob smirked. "Had to take a birthday girl on a date. You understand, right?" The principal sighed and shook his head. "I'll let it slide this time. Now go see Mr. Harris, he's waiting for you." Jacob groaned. "How about we just do the conference thing right here, just the two of us? I really don't like Harris, and he doesn't like me either. Besides, I didn't cause any trouble, and I didn't fail any classes, so I don't know why I should talk to him." The principal said. "Just go and hear what the man has to say." Jacob sighed. "Fine." He made his way to the chemistry classroom. When he entered, Harris was writing something at his desk. Jacob sat down silently, pulled out his phone, and started playing on it. After a few minutes, Harris looked up. "Alexander. I'm surprised you didn't fall asleep somewhere and forget to show up." Jacob didn't look up. "Why am I here?" Harris leaned back in his chair. "Where are your parents?" "Too busy to come." Jacob glanced up. "I know you read my file. So either you're playing dumb or just trying to piss me off." Harris opened the file in front of him and skimmed through it. Then he gave Jacob a fake smile. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." Jacob listened to his heartbeat and thought, "This bastard is lying." He said aloud, "That's a lie. I can tell by the fake smile on your stupid face." Harris narrowed his eyes. "Watch your mouth, Alexander, or I'll get you suspended." Jacob shrugged. "Suspension. Go ahead. It's not like I care. Now tell me, why am I here?" Harris scoffed. "You're rude. But I guess I shouldn't expect better from someone who grew up in an orphanage." Jacob frowned, his anger rising. "Should I kill this bastard?" He helped Kate burn the Hale family, aided Jennifer the Duroc, and even helped release the Najitsun in the movie. More importantly, I just really hate him. "All right," Jacob said aloud. "You don't like me, and I don't like you. So let's just get this over with. Why am I here?" Harris glared at him. "You're here because you sleep in class. And when you're awake, you distract the female students, flirting with them." Jacob cut in. "Stop right there. I admit I sleep in class from time to time, but I got an A on your test. As for the female students, I didn't do anything to them, they're the ones who flirt with me. You shouldn't blame me for being too handsome. You should talk to them instead and tell them to leave me alone." Harris scoffed. "You're unbelievably narcissistic. Are we done here?" Jacob asked. Harris closed the file. "Yeah, you can go. But since you've been rude, you've got detention Monday. You'll be cleaning the." "Yeah, screw that." Jacob cut him off. "I'm not doing any of that shit." "Then I'll have you suspended." Jacob shrugged. "Like I said before, go ahead. You'd be doing me a favor. But honestly, I don't think you can suspend me, I haven't done anything wrong." Jacob stood up and walked toward the door, but then stopped. He turned to Harris with a smirk and said, "I advise you to leave me alone from now on, Harris." Harris narrowed his eyes. "Are you threatening me? I'm not afraid of you. And since you just threatened a teacher, I can not only suspend you, I can have you expelled." Jacob said, "I have a lot of money, Harris. And I can make your life very miserable." Harris stiffened. "What do you mean?" Jacob smiled coldly. "Say, if I hired a private investigator to dig into your past. Are you confident they wouldn't find anything suspicious?" He stepped closer, voice low. "Like helping an arsonist burn down a house and kill 8 people, 6 years ago." Harris visibly paled. "You don't know what you're talking about." Jacob leaned in. "Leave me alone, Harris. And from now on, no matter what I do in your class, you won't care about me. Don't even look at me. Otherwise, I will ruin your pathetic little life." He turned and walked out, leaving Harris frozen in place, nervous, sweating, and wondering how Jacob knew what he did 6 years ago. As Jacob walked through the school halls toward the exit, he thought. Either Harris leaves me alone from now on, or he does something stupid, like trying to kill me. If he stays away, that's what I want. If he attacks me, that's even better. As he exited the school, there were a lot of people there, parents and students, chatting after the conference. As he was walking toward his car, someone shoved him hard all of a sudden. Jacob turned around to find a very angry Chris glaring at him. What are you doing, Mr. Argent? Jacob said. Chris snapped. How dare you make my daughter skip school? Allison, standing nearby with her mother and Lydia, rushed over. Dad, stop. He didn't make me do anything. I told. You shut up. Chris barked. I'll deal with you at home. He turned back to Jacob, his voice full of venom. Just because you don't have parents to worry about you and can do whatever you want, that doesn't mean you can kidnap my daughter. Lydia stepped forward with Victoria and said sharply. That's rude, Mr. Argent. I get that you're angry, but you didn't need to bring up his parents. Jacob clenched his fists, his anger flaring. But then he looked at Allison's concerned expression and took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down. He sighed and said, I'm sorry, Mr. Argent, for making you worry about Allison. Then he turned around to leave. Wait. Allison called, her voice guilty and worried. Without turning back, Jacob said. Don't worry about me, Allison. I'm fine. He walked toward his car, but then suddenly, people began screaming and scattering. A low, deep growl echoed through the crowd. Allison tensed. What was that? Victoria immediately stepped in front of the girls. Stay behind me, both of you. Then they all saw it, a mountain lion, charging through the parking lot, straight at Jacob. Chris drew his gun, but he didn't have a clear shot. Lydia screamed. Watch out. The mountain lion, clearly panicked and trying to escape something, saw Jacob in its path and leapt toward him. Still in a bad mood, Jacob didn't flinch. He simply turned his head slightly and raised a hand, catching the lion by the scruff of its neck midair. He released a burst of his dragon aura, and the lion immediately froze in terror, completely subdued. Without saying a word, Jacob walked toward the woods beside the school, carrying the creature. When they were a safe distance away, he tossed it to the ground and said, Get lost. And you're welcome, I just saved your life. The mountain lion stayed frozen in place, too scared to move. Chris, Victoria, Allison, and Lydia followed. Chris approached and raised his gun, aiming at the animal. Jacob placed a hand on Chris's arm and pushed the gun down. Don't shoot it. Chris frowned. It's the creature that's been killing people around town. Jacob snorted. Don't play dumb. We both know this stupid cat isn't the one killing people around town. It was that thing that showed up at your house the other night. Then Jacob glared at the mountain lion and said, Leave. The mountain lion finally ran off, disappearing into the woods. Jacob turned around and headed toward his car without a word. Lydia bit her nail while eyeing him and muttered under her breath. That was hot. Chris called out. Wait, kid. How did you catch the mountain lion? Jacob didn't stop walking. Are you blind? Weren't you watching me when I caught it? Chris narrowed his eyes. That's not what I meant. I mean, how did you grab a 130-pound predator with that kind of ease, like it was a kitten? Jacob stopped for a second, then said coldly. Maybe because I'm really pissed off right now, or maybe because I don't care about my life since I don't have parents or anyone to care about me, Argent. Then he continued to his car. Lydia and Allison exchanged looks, then hurried after him. They caught up to him just as he reached his car. Lydia grabbed one of his hands. Don't ever risk your life like that again. I care about you. Allison took his other hand. I care about you too. Don't say stuff like there's no one to care about you again. Jacob sighed and gave them both a tired look. Sorry, girls. I'm just not in a great mood right now. I need to go home. Lydia said softly. I'll come with you. He shook his head. No, I want to be alone for a while. Allison lowered her eyes. Sorry. Jacob replied gently. Don't be. You didn't do anything wrong. But my dad. She started. Jacob cut her off. He's the one who should be sorry, not you. All right, I have to go. See you girls tomorrow. After saying that, Jacob got into his car and drove away. Just then, Stiles and his dad, Sheriff Noah Stilinski, arrived. The sheriff immediately began questioning Chris about the mountain lion. Stiles walked over to Lydia and Allison. Why did Jacob leave? I don't believe he'd leave you two alone while a mountain lion is loose here unless it's important. Lydia shrugged. Jay already scared the mountain lion away. I see. Stiles said. Did he go home? I need to talk to him. Allison shook her head. He's not in a good mood right now, so you should wait until tomorrow. No, he's busy tomorrow. You should wait until Sunday. Stiles frowned. What's wrong with him? Allison hesitated. My dad got mad and said some really stupid things to him. Stiles muttered. Then he's very lucky he's your dad. Otherwise, he'd be very miserable right now. Allison blinked. What do you mean? Stiles quickly backtracked. Nothing. Gotta go. Bye. He turned and ran off. Allison looked at Lydia. Do you think Stiles knows about Jay's powers? Lydia thought for a moment. I'm not sure, but he definitely knows something. He and Jay were talking about that Wiru, that beast that killed the video store owner yesterday. Just then, Chris called over. Allison, let's go home. Allison turned to Lydia. Okay, I've got to go. See you tomorrow at Jay's place. I wonder what he's going to tell us. Me too. Lydia said. See you tomorrow. Lydia headed to her car, and Allison walked past her parents toward her own. Chris stopped her. Where are you going? To my car. She replied. I can't just leave it here, can I? She got in and drove off. Victoria turned to her husband. I think you went a little too far with the kid. Chris grunted. He'll get over it. He's a man. Besides, that kid's hiding something. Did you see how he caught that mountain lion? That wasn't just anger or adrenaline. That's no ordinary strength. Victoria said. But we tested him. He's not a werewolf. Then maybe he's something else. Chris said grimly. And I will find out what it is. All right. Victoria said calmly. Just don't do anything rash. We need to deal with the alpha first. Chris frowned. But we can't just let Allison be with that kid. He's dangerous. She'll be fine. Victoria said. He won't hurt her. In fact, she'll be safer with him. I noticed when the alpha attacked us that night, the first thing that kid did was stand in front of Allison and protect her. Chris was quiet for a moment, then finally said. Fine. I'll leave him alone, for now. Jacob drove to the Beacon Hills Preserve. Once he arrived, he parked deep into the trees and stored his car in his pocket dimension. Then he took off running into the woods to clear his head. He thought while running. First it was Harris. That guy pissed me off. Then Chris really pissed me off, and for a moment I really wanted to hurt Chris or even kill him. Thankfully, it was just a passing thought. I didn't act on it. After running for a while, he reached an area filled with huge boulders. He stopped and smirked. Perfect. I'll blow off some steam by smashing these. Jacob began unleashing his frustration, slashing with his claws, punching, and kicking the rocks with all his strength. He even shifted, making his chest covered with dark scales, and to his surprise, new scales also appeared on the backs of both his hands. Just a few, not a full covering. Jacob didn't care, it was a pleasant surprise to him. Then he used his fire and thunder elements. With his arms coated in flames and sparks of lightning, he continued obliterating the rocky terrain around him. For over an hour and a half, he stayed there, fighting the earth, releasing all the pent-up frustration he'd bottled throughout the evening. Eventually, he stopped and exhaled deeply. That was fun. My head is clear now, and I'm starving. He started walking back, thinking to himself. Time to go home, eat a big meal, and get some sleep. Tomorrow I have to tell Allison and Lydia the truth. Hopefully, everything goes well. Chapter 32, The Talk. Saturday morning, Jacob took a shower, then headed to the kitchen for a big meal. After eating, he went to the living room and flopped onto the couch to digest. System, sign in. Daily sign in successful. Rewards obtained. A luxury chocolate box. A white gold Rolex Daytona 2011 edition. A pack of gummy worms. Jacob grinned as he pulled the rewards from his pocket dimension. Today's a lucky day, he said, holding up the gummy worms. I love these. And the chocolate box looks fancy, I'll share it with the girls. He opened the watch box, taking out the Rolex with admiration. Let's see how much this beauty's worth. After a quick online search, he whistled. $34,000. Damn, I really am lucky today. He tucked the watch back into his pocket dimension, opened the gummy worms, and started eating while watching an animal documentary, waiting for Allison and Lydia to arrive. At 10 a.m., both Lydia and Allison arrived in Lydia's car. She opened the gate herself with the key Jacob gave her yesterday, went back to her car, and drove inside the gate. Allison raised a brow. Why do you have that key? Lydia smirked. Jay gave it to me, after we slept together. Allison scoffed. You just slept next to each other. Lydia leaned back smugly. We did more than just sleep. We did a lot of things you haven't done with him. So yeah, I'm calling that a win. Allison rolled her eyes. We're both losers. The only winner is that pervert. Now close the gate behind you. After saying that, Allison got out of the car and walked toward the mansion, ready to knock, but before she could, Jacob opened the door with a big smile. Good morning, beautiful. But when he was about to hug her, she pushed him away and entered the mansion, giving him angry looks. Jacob followed her to the living room and said, "What's wrong with you?" Allison sat on the couch, grabbed a gummy worm, and popped it into her mouth without replying. Lydia entered, walked straight up to Jacob, gave him a hug, and kissed him on the lips, right in front of Allison. Good morning, handsome, she said sweetly. Jacob smirked and glanced at Allison. See, that's how you say good morning. Allison simply glared at him in silence. What's her problem? He asked Lydia. She's upset because you gave me your house keys but didn't give her any. Lydia said casually. Jacob turned to Allison. Seriously. That's what you're mad about. I only gave Lydia the keys because I left her here alone yesterday and wanted her to be able to lock up. Then he looked at Lydia. But you're not planning on giving them back, are you? Lydia smirked. Nope. She sat beside Allison and reached for a gummy worm, then paused when she spotted the chocolate box. Ooh, what's this? Some luxury chocolate I bought. Jacob said. You both can have some, just leave a few for me. I haven't tried it yet. He walked upstairs, grabbed another spare key to the mansion, then returned and handed it to Allison. Here, it's for you. What's this for? She asked, frowning. He gently took her hand and placed the keys in it. You're angry because I gave Lydia a copy of my house keys, so I'm giving you your own copy. Allison stared at him. But I haven't even decided if I want to be your girlfriend yet. Jacob grinned mischievously. Doesn't matter. Like I said before, I'm possessive. I like you, so there's no escaping. Even if you say no, I'll keep chasing you. And if you fall for someone else, well, I'll kill him. Allison rolled her eyes. Are you a psychopath? Jacob chuckled. Yes, I am. Then he turned to Lydia. Same goes for you, too. Lydia smirked. You're really evil. I like it. And by the way, I've already decided to be your girlfriend. Allison blinked. What? You didn't even hear what he has to say yet. You don't even know what kind of powers he has. Lydia shrugged. I don't really care that much. Then she grabbed a piece of chocolate, popped it in her mouth, and said, these are really good. Jacob took one as well, chewed thoughtfully, and nodded. They really are. He looked at Allison. You can decide after hearing me out, and you can take your time, Allison. You don't have to worry about Lydia. She is Lydia. Lydia narrowed her eyes. And what's that supposed to mean? Jacob smiled. It means you are who you are, and I like you for it. So don't change. That's all I mean. Lydia stared at him for a moment, then smiled and went back to eating chocolate. She looked over at Allison and said, don't give me that judgy look. I just dare to love and hate without caring about anything else. Sure, I don't like that he'll date you, and probably other girls too, but that's who he is. I'm not going to try and change him. Allison let out a sigh and turned to Jacob. So, can you tell us about the supernatural and about what you are? Jacob sat down. Okay. Here goes nothing. Are you ready for your lives to change forever? Allison nodded nervously, while Lydia grinned. I'm ready. Let's start with the manber. Jacob said. Can I tell her? Lydia asked excitedly. Jacob nodded, and Lydia turned to Allison with a smirk. It's a werewolf. Allison blinked. A werewolf. Wait, how do you know that? She turned to Jacob, narrowing her eyes. You told her before you told me. Jacob raised his hands. No, I didn't. She figured it out on her own. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised you didn't think he was a werewolf when you saw him. I mean, the guy literally had a wolf's head. Allison frowned. Are you saying Lydia's smarter than me? Jacob grinned. Well, she is smarter than both of us. And no, I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm just wondering why you didn't think of werewolves when you saw him. That's all. I saw the thing and heard you call it a bear, and I thought that was what it was. Allison protested. In my family, calling it a bear didn't help either. But now that I think about it, yeah, he did look more like a wolf. So, werewolves are real. Jacob nodded. Yes, they are very much real. And that one was an alpha, you can tell by the glowing red eyes. Lydia chimed in. That's what you call the leader of a wolf pack. Does that mean that werewolf has a pack? Jacob shrugged. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter if he has a pack or not. If a werewolf's eyes glow red, it means they're an alpha. Alphas are way stronger and faster than regular werewolves. Their bite can either turn a human into a werewolf, or kill them. Allison frowned. What about regular werewolves? What color are their eyes? Yellow. Jacob replied. But if a werewolf takes an innocent life, whether on purpose or by accident, their eyes turn blue. He continued. Alphas lead the pack. The members of their pack are called betas. A werewolf without a pack is called an omega, and omegas are the weakest, because being part of a pack makes werewolves stronger. Allison leaned forward. Are there any other creatures besides werewolves? Jacob nodded. Yes, there are a lot. No one really knows how many supernatural species exist. I have a book that I can show you girls later, it has a lot of supernatural creatures in it. But first, he added, let's talk about your family, Allison. Allison tilted her head. What about my family? They are hunters. Jacob said. The kind that hunt werewolves and other supernatural creatures. Allison's eyes widened. Wait, what? Hunters? And when you say hunting, are we talking, like capturing? Jacob shook his head. No, we are talking about killing. They kill supernatural creatures by poisoning them, shooting them with guns and arrows, and sometimes even cutting werewolves in half with swords. Allison asked. Do you think my parents have killed supernatural beings before? Jacob nodded. Definitely. I'm pretty sure your mom is a skilled hunter. As for your dad, he is a very famous hunter along with your aunt and grandfather. He popped a piece of chocolate into his mouth and said, all right girls, tell me, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say, werewolf weakness? Both Allison and Lydia said at the same time, silver. Jacob smiled. That's what most people think. But actual silver isn't really a werewolf's weakness. It's a misunderstanding. There's a hunter family with the last name Silver that was so good at killing werewolves that people started to think that silver is a weakness of werewolves. Lydia raised an eyebrow. Allison's last name means silver in French. Jacob nodded. Exactly. I'm talking about your family, Allison. The Argents. They're one of the oldest and most skilled French hunter families. They've been hunting werewolves for centuries, and while they do go after other supernatural creatures, werewolves are their specialty. Allison looked overwhelmed. This is a lot to take in. Were they ever going to tell me? Jacob shrugged. I don't know. But Kate is definitely trying to tell you already. Allison frowned. How do you know that? Jacob pointed to the necklace around her neck. That pendant she gave you, what did she say when she gave it to you? Allison glanced down. She said, if I wanted to know more about our family, I should research the symbol on the pendant. Jacob nodded. That beast carved into the pendant is a werewolf. It's called La Bête du Gévaudan. It was a very powerful werewolf. It was eventually killed by your ancestor, Marie-Jeanne Vallée, better known as the Maid of Gévaudan. She married a man named Henri Argent, and together they founded the Argent hunting bloodline back in the 18th century. She was the first Argent hunter. Lydia's eyes widened. Wow. Your family history is fascinating, Allison. Jacob leaned back. Just like humans, werewolves have the good among them who don't harm humans and even protect humans from supernatural danger. And of course there are psychos who enjoy killing humans or other supernatural creatures. La Bête du Gévaudan was one of the worst werewolves that ever lived, he was killing people for sport. Allison nodded. Then I'm glad Marie-Jeanne killed that bastard. Jacob smirked. His real name was Sébastien Vallée. Lydia popped another piece of chocolate in her mouth. Oh, this just keeps getting better and better. Allison paused. Wait. His last name was Vallée too. Was he related to Marie-Jeanne? Jacob nodded. Yeah, he was her brother. Which means, Sébastien Vallée was your many times great uncle. Allison sat stunned for a moment, then asked. Why do you know all this stuff about my family? Jacob looked serious. Because I'm a supernatural creature, and knowing about your family is related to my well-being. After all, they hunt people like me. Allison hesitated. Is that why you befriended me? To get close to my family? Jacob raised an eyebrow. You overthink too much. When we first met, I had no idea who you were. But I'm not gonna lie, I knew you were an Argent the moment I saw your mother when she came to pick you up that day. But I didn't care that you're from a hunter family. You were beautiful, and I was attracted to you the second I laid eyes on you. That's all that mattered. Allison softened. Sorry. I was just asking. I didn't mean anything by it. Jacob smiled. Don't worry about it. Lydia suddenly narrowed her eyes at Jacob, giving him a glare. He chuckled and turned to her. You're beautiful too. And I was just as attracted to you the moment I saw you in class. Lydia smiled in satisfaction, while Allison rolled her eyes. So Kate was trying to tell me the truth, Allison said. I thought she was just joking or being dramatic. I didn't even research the necklace. Jacob replied. Even if you did, you wouldn't have found much. Sure, you'd learn about the beast of Javadan, but all you'd find are vague stories about some creature that looked like a wolf and killed a bunch of people. That's it. Then Jacob turned serious. And Allison, I know you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but Kate isn't as perfect or kind as you think. Allison frowned. Why would you say that? Don't be upset. Jacob said gently. I'm not telling you to hate her or anything. But Kate is extreme. Do you remember that half-body they found in the woods? Allison nodded. Yeah, that girl was a werewolf. Jacob said. And although the one who killed her was the same alpha who attacked us the other night, he didn't cut her in half. The hunters did that. Allison's eyes widened. So, what does that have to do with Kate? She wasn't even in Beacon Hills. Jacob sighed. Only Argent hunters are operating in Beacon Hills. That girl was cut in half and dumped there to draw her brother back into town. It was done under someone's orders. Lydia, enjoying the drama like it was a movie, asked. Who gave the order? Jacob answered. I'm sure it wasn't Allison's parents, so it was probably Kate. And like I said, Allison, I'm not telling you to hate her. I'm just telling you not to believe everything she tells you because you love and trust her. Use your head to judge what she tells you, not your heart. Allison hesitated, then nodded slowly. I'll keep that in mind. Jacob nodded back, then turned to Lydia. Now, he said, let's talk about you. Lydia blinked. What about me? You're a supernatural creature too. Jacob said. You're a banshee, or as some call it, the wailing woman. Lydia looked shocked. What? You must be wrong. I'm very normal. And, the wailing woman doesn't sound good at all. I'm not wrong. Jacob said. I can sense it. You are a banshee. You just haven't awakened your powers yet. Allison asked. What exactly is a banshee? Jacob explained. A banshee is a harbinger of death. They can sense when someone is about to die, and sometimes even hear the details of how it happens. Lydia blinked. A harbinger of death. So, I'm evil. Jacob shook his head. No. Just because you can predict death doesn't mean you're evil. It's actually a rare gift. You can sense when someone's in mortal danger, and when and where it might happen. We can use that ability to save people. Lydia thought for a moment, then said. Well, if you put it like that, it doesn't sound too bad. Jacob smiled. And a banshee is much more than that. They're capable of reading minds. Their telepathy lets them dig deeper into someone's memories through touch, even revealing or recovering suppressed ones. Plus, they have a connection to the spiritual world, or something like it. Lydia's eyes widened. I can do all of that. Jacob nodded. Yep. And by the way, banshees have incredibly powerful lungs and vocal cords. They can let out a sonic scream, a powerful sound wave used to defend themselves. We just need to figure out how to awaken your powers. Lydia leaned back. Wow. We came here to learn about you, but I didn't expect to find out I'm a banshee and Allison's a hunter. Allison nodded. Yeah, this is not what I was expecting at all. Chapter 33. The Talk Part 2. After Allison and Lydia finished processing what Jacob had told them, about Allison's family being hunters and Lydia being a banshee, they both looked at Jacob curiously. Allison asked. Jay, can you tell us what kind of creature you are now? Jacob nodded. His eyes shifted, turning reptilian and glowing gold. His fangs grew longer, and he let out a deep growl, making both girls jump in surprise. But instead of fear, curiosity sparkled in their eyes as they each sat beside him, studying his face. Lydia leaned in and said, Your eyes are beautiful. Allison nodded. Yeah, really beautiful. Lydia examined him more closely. You've got vertical slit pupils, like a reptile, a fox, or a cat. So, which one are you? Jacob chuckled. I'm something ancient. I believe I'm the last of my kind. And I'm a possessive, lustful creature known for having multiple mates. The more mates I have, the faster my strength grows. That's my nature, and I can't change it. But you still haven't told us what you are. Lydia pointed out. Jacob grew serious. I can't reveal that unless you decide to be with me. It's not because I don't trust you girls, it's just that there are a lot of creatures who can read memories, and the only way to protect your minds from being read is to become my mates. I can't expose what I am yet because I'm both very dangerous and something people will do anything to get their hands on, and I'm not strong enough to protect myself. Lydia didn't hesitate. I already told you, I want to be with you. Jacob looked at her closely. Lydia, you have to think this through. This isn't something you can just walk away from. It's for life. Once you become my mate, there's no going back. That's exactly what I want. Lydia said. I don't want to be in a relationship like my parents and be afraid that one day you'll abandon me. I want something permanent. Jacob smiled warmly. Are you sure? Lydia smiled back. Yes, I think life with you will never be boring. So I'm in. Jacob said. Then I'm glad you agreed. Then he turned to Allison. What about you? Allison hesitated. I don't know, but I do know that I don't want a life without you. That's how I feel. But, you will have a lot of mates like you said, so are you sure you're not going to forget about me one day and cast me aside? Jacob shook his head. Never. You'll understand after you become my mate. We'll be connected. Lydia, smirking, leaned toward Allison and said. Well, if you don't want him, I'll get to keep him all to myself. So maybe you should leave and forget about him. Allison's eyes narrowed. You're the one who should leave, you bitch. I'm not going anywhere. Jacob smiled like an idiot, giving Lydia an invisible thumbs up in his mind. He looked back at Allison and asked gently. So, do you want to be with me? Allison muttered under her breath. Yes, even if I wanted to leave, I couldn't. I'm too in love with you, idiot. Jacob heard her clearly but decided to tease. Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch it. Allison looked up and said louder. I said yes. I want to be with you. Jacob pulled both girls into a tight hug. That's great. I was afraid I'd lose one of you today, or maybe both. After a moment, he let go and silently asked his system, how do I use the soul contract? The contract will appear as a tattoo in the center of your right hand. Ask them to drip a drop of their blood onto it to complete the bond. Jacob raised his right hand, revealing a glowing red tattoo, an intricate circle with a dragon's head in the center. You both need to drip your blood on this tattoo. He said. Allison hesitated. Why? Jacob looked at her seriously. Do you trust me? She nodded. Yes. Then do it. He said. You'll understand afterward. Lydia asked. Do you have a needle? Jacob shook his head. No. Use my claws. With care, he used his claw to make a small cut on each of their fingers. They both let a drop of blood fall onto the tattoo on his palm. The red mark glowed brightly, then slowly faded and vanished. The three of them closed their eyes as the contract bound them together. In Jacob's vision, a screen appeared in front of him. Contract successful. Congratulations, host. You are now married to Allison Argent and Lydia Martin. The three of you are bound for life. You cannot betray one another, and their minds are protected from being read by another creature. You can communicate with them telepathically, and you will sense when they are in danger. Jacob asked in his mind. When can I share powers with them? You can share system rewards with them after they truly become your mates. This will happen when you consummate the marriage. The system will grant you new rewards after consummating the marriage with each of them, including powers that are suitable for them. Good. Jacob thought. Then let's wait until that happens before I tell them that I can give them powers. He opened his eyes and saw that Allison and Lydia still had their eyes closed in deep concentration. After a few moments, they slowly opened them. So, we're married now, huh? Allison said, raising an eyebrow. You didn't think to mention the marriage part. Jacob smiled. I thought the part about being in a relationship for life pretty much explained it. But don't worry, I'll throw you both a huge wedding whenever you want. Allison sighed. Let's wait a few years for that. Lydia chimed in. Besides the marriage part, it said we can't betray or harm each other, our minds are protected, and, I do feel connected to you too. I feel it too. Allison added. It's like we're family, but more than that. I can't really explain it, it's a fascinating feeling. Lydia smirked and spoke telepathically. And we can do this now, talk in each other's heads. Allison replied with a laugh. That's really cool. And we can also feel it if one of us is in danger. Jacob blinked. Wait, how do you girls know all that? I mean the marriage, the telepathy, and the fact that we can't betray each other. Lydia said. After I dripped my blood on your tattoo, a flood of information just entered my head. It explained what that tattoo was. Allison nodded. Same here. It was like the knowledge was uploaded into my brain. Jacob leaned back. I didn't think that's how you girls would learn what the tattoo was. I thought I'd have to explain it to you. Allison smiled. So, now can you tell us what you are? Jacob said. Of course. He stood up and took off his hoodie, becoming topless. Then he shifted. Black scales covered his chest and a little of his shoulders, and a few scales appeared on the back of both of his hands. I'm a dragon, he said. Lydia's eyes widened. A dragon? You mean the huge fire-breathing flying lizard? Jacob nodded. Exactly. Though I can't shift into my full dragon form yet. I'm still too weak. Allison asked. Can you breathe fire? Not yet. Jacob said with a smirk. But I can do this. He raised his right hand and summoned a swirling ball of flame in his palm. Cool. Lydia whispered, eyes wide. Girls, step back a little. Jacob said. Once the girls moved aside, he summoned a ball of crackling lightning in his other hand. Allison stared at the fire and lightning balls in Jacob's hands in awe. And you say you're still weak with all these magical powers? Jacob chuckled and dismissed the elements, then shifted back to normal, and wore his hoodie, which made Lydia pout in disappointment after he covered himself. He sat back down, popped a gummy worm into his mouth, and said, there are a lot of powerful creatures out there stronger than me, and a lot of hunters with very powerful weapons, so I'm not arrogant enough to think I'm invincible. He glanced at them seriously. Dragons are very dangerous when they reach their full strength, so everyone fears them. Also, my blood can be used to create all kinds of powerful magical potions, and my bones can be crafted into weapons. So, if the wrong people find out what I am, I'll have a target on my back. That's why I need to lay low. He finished. At least until I'm strong enough to protect myself. The girls sat beside Jacob, and Allison said. Then we can't tell anyone what you are. Lydia added. Especially your parents, Allison. They sound like they hate supernatural creatures. If they find out you're dating one, they'll probably try to kill him. Jacob said calmly. I'm not too worried about your parents, but Allison, whatever you do, don't tell Kate what I am. I don't trust her. And I will kill her if she tries to harm me or spread information about me. Allison looked shocked. Kill her. Jacob turned to her, eyes serious. Yes. If she tells the wrong people what I am, it won't just be me they'll come after you too as well. So don't tell her. She's not as good a person as you think. Allison sighed. Don't worry. I wouldn't tell anyone. But, why are you so sure she's bad? Jacob replied. Because unlike your dad, Kate is close to your grandfather, Gerard. And that man is pure evil. Like I said before, I'm not telling you to hate her. I'm just saying be careful around her and don't be too disappointed when you find out who she really is. That's all I'm saying. Allison nodded. All right. I'll be careful around her and won't believe everything she says. But until I see it for myself, I'll keep treating her the same. She's like a sister to me, at least for now. Lydia leaned forward. Okay, let's stop talking about that. Say, Jay, there are a lot of different kinds of dragons. Like Eastern dragons that look like snakes, and dragons with wings instead of arms, and dragons with 4 limbs and wings. Which one are you? Jacob smiled. The last one. I'm a Western dragon, 4 limbs and 2 wings. The ones with wings instead of arms are wyverns. Are you sure you're the last of your kind? Lydia asked. I'm not sure. Jacob said. Maybe there are other living dragons, but until I reach my full strength, I hope I never meet one. Allison raised an eyebrow. Say, pervert, do you like anything else other than women? Jacob grinned. Yeah, food and shiny things. That's why I love my car and my bike. Then he hugged both girls close and smirked. Speaking of being a pervert, when are we going to sleep together? Lydia giggled. We can do it now, if you want. Allison pushed him away lightly. No, we are not doing anything yet. And by the way, I knew him first, so I get to be his first woman. Then she glared at Jacob. And you, don't ever think about sleeping with both of us at the same time. I'm not gay, I have no interest in women, so I'll never do that. Jacob raised his hands defensively. Relax. Like I said, I'm very possessive. I don't want to share either of you, not even with each other. So don't worry, I don't want a threesome. But Allison, when are we going to? Allison cut him off. I already became yours, for life. But if you want to sleep with me, you'll have to work for it. Take me on a few more dates at least. Lydia smirked. I can sleep with you, Jay. I can do it right now if you want. I'm ready whenever you are. Allison snapped. No, you won't. You'll wait your turn after me. Lydia said. Then hurry up. I'm already more than ready. And just so you know, I'll be trying to seduce him whenever I get the chance. So don't blame me if he gets tired of waiting for your indecisive ass. Allison shot her a glare. I won't stop you from that, but if he sleeps with you before me, he better be ready to lose his balls. Jacob raised a finger, about to speak. Allison cut him off sharply. You shut up. I'm serious. If you sleep with her first, don't blame me for being rude. Jacob blinked and said, yes, ma'am. Then he sniffled dramatically like he was crying, leaned into Lydia's chest, and whined. Allison is so mean, she scared me. Lydia patting his back. There, don't be scared. Seeing Allison's death glare, Lydia smirked, and pushed Jacob away from her chest and said, let me give you a kiss to make you feel better. Then the two of them started making out, until Allison finally snapped. She stood up and pulled them apart. That's enough. Jacob grinned, turned to her, and scooped her into his arms. He sat back on the couch with her in his lap and started tickling her until she burst out laughing and begged him to stop. When he'd had enough fun, he leaned in and gave her a deep kiss. Don't worry. I promised you, and I'll keep my promise. Just, don't take too long, because I can't take Lydia's torture for too long. Allison, catching her breath, said. I won't take too long. I just want us to go on a few more dates first. Lydia crossed her arms. Speaking of dates, you haven't taken me on one yet. Jacob chuckled. How about tomorrow night? Lydia nodded. Deal. Jacob looked down at Allison, still resting in his lap. Oh, I just remembered, I think your parents noticed I have powers yesterday when I caught that mountain lion. Allison's eyes widened. You think that'll be a problem? Are you going to fight with them? Jacob shook his head. No. But what if they try to hurt you? Or separate us? Jacob replied calmly. Then we'll pretend that if they hurt me, you'll get hurt too because we're bound together. And tell them that if they try to separate us, we'll both die. I think they love you enough to not endanger your life. Allison considered it. All right. If they try anything, we go with that. But, what if they tell Kate? Jacob said. I don't think she'd do anything to harm you either, I hope. And as long as she doesn't know exactly what I am, it's fine if she thinks I'm just a shapeshifter. I see, Allison nodded. But we also need to hide the fact that you're dating both me and Lydia. At least for now. Lydia agreed. She's right. I don't need my mom nagging me constantly, so let's keep it between us for now. Jacob nodded. All right. We'll keep it a secret for as long as we can, though honestly, I doubt it'll stay hidden for long. Then he stood up, lifted Allison over his shoulder, and gave her a playful spank. Now I'm starving. Let's get lunch. With that, the three headed to the kitchen and had a big lunch. The girls were shocked by the sheer amount of food Jacob consumed. He laughed and explained that it was part of his dragon growing phase, he needed tons of energy. Chapter 34, The Talk Part 3. After lunch, Jacob, Allison, and Lydia returned to the living room. The girls were still stunned that Jacob's stomach hadn't bulged even slightly despite the massive amount of food he'd devoured. As they sat down, Lydia said, I'm so envious. You can eat whatever you want and never get fat. Jacob, lying on the couch with his head in Allison's lap, smirked. Pretty cool, right? I love my ability to eat a lot of food too. Allison ran her fingers through his hair and asked, Hey, Jay, do you know why that werewolf is killing people around town? And why he attacked my family that night? Jacob said, I don't know exactly why he's killing people, but I don't think it's random. As for attacking your family, it's because they are hunters, of course. I see, Allison murmured. By the way, who else in this town is supernatural? Jacob said, there are a lot of supernatural beings in Beacon Hills. You know, the town is actually a real beacon for the supernatural. Lydia raised an eyebrow. Why? What attracts them here? Jacob answered. The Neemton. It's a supernatural tree located in the Beacon Hills Preserve. It attracts the supernatural to this town, and some say it can even make them stronger. Allison said. So, you must know a few of these supernatural people. I know a few. Jacob said. There's an alpha werewolf named Satomi somewhere in town. She has a large pack, though I've never met her. And there's Derek Hale, he's a werewolf too, he's an acquaintance of mine. The dead werewolf girl found in the woods was his sister. He glanced at Allison. Just a heads up, he might not like you when you meet him. But don't worry, he's not that bad, and he wouldn't dare hurt you, even if you were an Argent. Because of you? Allison asked. Jacob nodded. Yeah, because of me, and your parents. But like I said, Derek isn't really a bad guy. Lydia asked. Is he the one who was talking with you, Styles, and Scott outside the video store? Jacob said. Yeah, that was him. So Styles and Scott are supernatural too. Lydia said. They know about the supernatural. Whether they are supernatural or not, that's not my secret to tell. You'll have to ask them yourselves. Allison said. Can you tell us about the different types of supernatural creatures you know? Jacob stood up. Sure. Let me show you girls something cool. He reached into the air and pulled something from his pocket dimension, the bestiary, and held it up for them to see. Lydia's eyes widened. Wait, how did you just do that? Jacob smirked. Same way I use fire and lightning. It's a spatial ability, I can store things in a separate dimension. Allison leaned forward, intrigued. Show us again. Bring out something else. Jacob, without thinking, reached in and pulled out another item, and dropped it onto the table. Both girls instantly glared at him. He turned to look, and froze. On the table lay a small pile of panties and bras. Jacob cursed in his mind. Damn it. That's Nami's underwear collection I got as a system reward. Out loud, he said. Wrong item. And reached to shove it back into the pocket dimension. Stop right there, pervert. Allison snapped. Whose are those? Jacob laughed nervously. Would you believe me if I said I bought them for you? Of course not. Lydia said flatly. Which girl gave you those? And why are you collecting them? Allison added with a glare. No one gave them to me. Jacob defended quickly. Check them, they're brand new. They're cosplay outfits from an anime character. I bought them for you too. Really? The girls exchanged skeptical looks, then began inspecting the clothes. Allison picked up a bra. These are way too big. Lydia nodded. Yeah, even for me. Jacob quickly shoved everything back into his pocket dimension. Okay. We'll go shopping later and you can pick out whatever you want. I'll pay. Lydia smiled. Promise. Jacob nodded. Promise. Allison narrowed her eyes. What else are you hiding in that secret dimension of yours? Jacob coughed. Nothing else. Anyway, let's focus on this. He opened the bestiary. Let's read about the supernatural. He ignored Allison's lingering glare and pointed out a few entries to Lydia. Allison sighed and sat down next to him, joining them in looking through the book. But after reading about a few creatures, Lydia suddenly slammed the book shut. Okay, that's enough supernatural for me today. Allison nodded. Yeah, same here. Some of those creatures are seriously nasty. Jacob leaned back. Well, that's the supernatural world for you. There are some nice-looking ones, some ugly ones, and just like humans, some are good, some bad, and some downright evil. You've got your cannibals, baby-eaters, murder lovers, you name it. Lydia grimaced. Alright, change of subject. Let's talk about something else. Jacob raised a brow. Like what? Lydia glanced at him. Is there any other girl you like that we don't know about? Jacob answered casually. Nope. There's no one else. How about girls at school? Lydia pressed. They're all over you. Jacob shrugged. I don't like any of them, I swear. Allison chimed in, narrowing her eyes. Okay, what about a girl you don't like, but you're attracted to? Jacob paused for a moment. Still none, but I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw Kate, I was attracted to her. Allison immediately cut him off. You better not go after her. If you do, I will never forgive you. Jacob raised both hands. Relax. I just said I was attracted to her at first. I'm not going after her. As a dragon, I get drawn to special women, and your aunt, she's definitely unique. But I don't like her. She gives me a bad feeling. Allison crossed her arms. Are you sure? I remember you looked really disappointed when you thought she wanted to have sex with you that day in my house. But she was just checking if you were injured. Jacob smirked, laid back on the couch, and rested his head on Allison's lap again. You're so naive, Allison. First of all, I was pretending. Second, she wasn't checking to see if I was okay. She and your parents were making sure I hadn't been scratched by the alpha. Allison frowned. Why? Jacob explained. Because a deep enough scratch or bite from an alpha can turn a human into a werewolf. And I'm sure if I was a normal human and got scratched or bitten, I would be killed by them by now. Allison shook her head. They wouldn't. I know my parents, they're not cold-blooded killers. You're right. Jacob admitted. As hunters, your family follows a code. We hunt those who hunt us. But still, since I'm close to you, they would have probably done something to me if they thought I was a werewolf. You're overthinking. She said. Do you remember the night I picked you up for Lydia's party? Jacob asked. Your parents invited me in for tea. Yeah, what about it? Jacob said calmly. Your mom served me tea made with wolfsbane. It's extremely poisonous to werewolves. Allison's eyes widened. What? She didn't. Yes, she did. Jacob said. So you might think your parents are nice, but they're not. Especially your mom, she's more dangerous than your dad. She might look like a sweet housewife, but I'd bet she's deadlier than he is. Allison sighed. You're probably right. Lydia raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Allison shrugged. Although my mom looks nice, I know better. She actually scares me more than my dad. She can be really mean sometimes. Then she looked at Jacob. But you seriously need to do something about your charm ability. Seeing those bitches at school drooling over you and surrounding you whenever me and Lydia aren't around makes me very angry. Jacob scratched the back of his head. I can't control it yet. Maybe once I get stronger, I'll be able to turn it off. Lydia asked. By the way, do you have any other powers? Jacob nodded. Yeah, I've got super strength, super healing, super hearing, super speed, and an enhanced sense of smell. I can even smell emotions, not just sense. Allison blinked. Wait, super hearing. How good is it? I can hear heartbeats and tell when someone's lying. Jacob said. I can also hear conversations from really far away. Allison narrowed her eyes. The day I showed you my archery skills, did you hear my conversation with Lydia? Jacob smirked. Yep. I heard you girls saying that you both like me. And for a moment I thought you two were going to fight, but luckily you didn't. He looked up from Allison's lap and locked eyes with her. And I also heard you mention something about having a dream about me. Care to tell me about it now? Allison grabbed a bunch of gummy worms from the table and stuffed them into Jacob's mouth. Shut up. I'm not telling you anything. Jacob sat up, coughing up gummy worms. You almost choked me to death. Are you trying to kill me? Allison smirked. That's for eavesdropping. Lydia moved next to Jacob, letting her hands wander across his chest. I had a dream about you too. Want me to tell you about it? Jacob immediately jumped back. No thanks. My balls are still hurting from the blue balling you gave me the other night. Lydia pouted. Why are you scared of me? Jacob ducked behind Allison. Allison, protect me. She's trying to seduce me again. I'm not strong enough to resist her temptation. Allison crossed her arms. That's enough, Lydia. Don't seduce him. Lydia rolled her eyes. You said you wouldn't interfere if I tried. Well, Allison said. At least don't do it while I'm here. Then she turned to Jacob. And you better not give in to her when I'm not around. Jacob hugged her and said. Don't worry. I promised you I wouldn't sleep with her before you. Then he glanced at Lydia and thought. But there are a lot of other fun things I can do with Lydia. Lydia winked at him. Allison won't always be around to protect you. Allison narrowed her eyes. Then I won't let you be alone with him. Oh, come on. Lydia groaned. I already agreed to let you be his first woman, so don't be greedy. Besides, you can sleep with him now and go on dates later. Jacob quickly sat between the two girls. All right, let's not fight. Shut up. They both snapped in unison. Lydia folded her arms. You know what? She doesn't want to sleep with you now, and I do. So you make a decision that'll satisfy both of us. Allison added. I want you not to be alone with her until you take me on a few dates and we sleep together. Lydia leaned in. I want you to sleep with me right now. Jacob looked back and forth between them, clearly panicking. Damn, I didn't know having a harem would be this stressful. Just then, the sound of a car pulling up outside saved him. Jacob jumped to his feet. Someone's at the gate. They're probably here for me. Allison grabbed his arm. Not so fast, make a decision first. I'll talk to you girls later. Jacob bolted toward the door like his life depended on it. Both girls watched him run off, then looked at each other and burst out laughing. That was fun, Lydia said, wiping away a tear. Allison grinned. Yeah, did you see how panicked he was? She turned to Lydia. Just give me a few more days to be ready. Please. Lydia sighed but smiled. All right, but don't take too long. 2 weeks. Allison said. Just give me 2 weeks. Fine, Lydia said. But teasing him is way too much fun. Let's keep doing that. Allison smirked. Agreed. Lydia suddenly said. Wait, that pervert probably heard us just now. Allison shrugged. Doesn't matter. Then she raised her voice and said. Jay, I know you're listening, you pervert. And I don't care. Lydia and I are going to teach you just how mean girls can be, and how hard it is to have multiple wives. So don't go thinking you can bring home any random girl you find. Lydia smirked. That's right. Allison and I are the ladies of this house now, and you're going to have to do whatever we say from now on. Outside, Jacob was just about to open the gate for Styles and Scott when he froze. Styles, wait here a second, I'll be right back. Then, in a blur of speed, Jacob ran back into the mansion and appeared in the living room like a shadow. No, he shouted dramatically. I will spoil you girls. I'll pamper you, treat you like queens, and do everything I can to make you happy. I'll ask your opinion on everything that concerns our family, but you cannot order me around. I'm a dragon. A proud and majestic creature. I will never be a simp. Lydia smirked. So, you were listening, you perv. Jacob sighed. Yes, I was. I was afraid that you two would start fighting, but it turns out I was just thinking too much. Allison smiled. Don't worry. We won't boss you around. And believe me, if you ever do turn into a simp, I'll be the first one to hate you. Jacob pouted. You girls are so mean. Allison and Lydia burst into laughter. Jacob turned and said, all right, I should go open the gate for Styles and Scott. They're still waiting outside. Chapter 35. Clues point to Peter. After Jacob opened the gate, Styles parked his Jeep in front of the mansion. Then the three of them entered the mansion and went to the living room. Jacob sat back down between Lydia and Allison and said to them telepathically. By the way, girls, Scott and Styles don't know I'm a dragon. I told them I don't know what I am, and after seeing my dragon eyes, they assume I'm some kind of snake shapeshifter. So don't tell them I'm a dragon, okay? Both girls responded in his head. Okay. Allison looked at Styles and said. Didn't I tell you that Jay is busy today? Styles, already helping himself to a piece of chocolate, replied. He doesn't look busy to me. Oh, what kind of chocolate is this? It tastes amazing. He took another piece and gave it to Scott. Here, try it. Scott took a bite. Wow, it really is good. Just as Styles was about to take another piece, Lydia snatched the box away and said. Hey, this is mine and Allison's. Styles pouted. Come on, don't be stingy. Lydia said. I already let you have one. That's generous enough. How generous of you. He grumbled, then stood up and said. I know where Jacob hides the good stuff. He bolted to the kitchen, grabbed a handful of snacks from a cabinet, and returned to the living room. Looking at Jacob, he asked. You don't mind, do you? Jacob raised an eyebrow. Actually, I do. Put those back where you found them. Styles completely ignored him, ripped open a Snickers bar, and tossed a pack of Oreos to Scott. Here you go, man. Scott looked at Jacob and hesitated, not knowing if he should eat the Oreos or not. Jacob chuckled. It's fine, Scott. Eat it if you want. But Styles, you're a rude houseguest. At least ask before you raid my kitchen. Styles waved him off. No need for politeness between friends. Jacob shook his head with a small smile. So, what's up? Are you guys here to hang out, or is there something you want to talk to me about? Styles glanced at Lydia and Allison, then back at Jacob. Well, there is something, but we can talk about it later. If you want to talk about the supernatural, then go ahead. Jacob said. I already told Lydia and Allison everything. Scott almost choked on his Oreo, coughed, and said. What? You told them everything. He pointed at Allison in panic. You told the hunter princess that I'm a werewolf. Jacob looked at him like he was an idiot. I only told her that you and Styles know about the supernatural. I didn't tell her you were a werewolf, but you just did, dumbass. Scott froze, eyes wide, and just stared at Jacob in a daze, like his life was over. Styles patted him on the back. Well, you jumped the gun, man. Now she knows what you are. But don't worry, when her dad kills you, I'll say a few kind words at your funeral. Hearing that, Scott got even more depressed. Allison smiled gently. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell my family about you. And you don't have to be scared of them. I don't think they'll hurt you unless you've done something bad. Jacob told me they follow a code, they only hunt harmful supernaturals. Scott snorted. Yeah, right. The only code your dad follows is shoot first, ask questions never. Allison frowned. What do you mean? Scott said. A few nights ago, I was in the woods. Out of nowhere, your dad and his goons showed up. He shot me in the leg with a crossbow. If another werewolf hadn't rescued me, I'd be dead by now. Allison turned to Jacob. Is that true? Jacob nodded. Yes. Scott continued. And let's not even talk about your aunt. What did she do? Allison asked. When she first got into town, she shot a friend of mine with a poisoned bullet. If Jacob hadn't helped him, he would have died. And he told me that yesterday she and a few of her goons went to his house, caught him, and tortured him with electricity. She even told him that she ordered the hunters to cut his sister's dead body in half and leave it in the woods, to lure him back to Beacon Hills. Lydia asked. Are you talking about Derek Hale? Scott replied. So Jacob told you about him? Lydia nodded. Yeah, he did. Allison turned to Jacob, visibly shaken. I didn't want to believe you when you said Kate was bad. She's always been so sweet and nice to me. But now, I don't know how to feel about her or how to treat her anymore. Jacob said calmly. You can treat her however you want. Just don't trust everything she says. Then he turned to Styles. So, what did you want to talk about? Styles leaned forward. I found a link between the bus driver and the video store owner. Jacob raised an eyebrow. What did you find? Styles said. Both of them were involved in the Hale House fire 6 years ago. Lydia asked. What's the Hale House fire? Styles explained. 6 years ago, the Hale House was burned down. 8 people died in the fire. Derek and his sister survived only because they were at school that day. And I don't think it was an accident. Lydia frowned. So the Alpha is taking revenge. Does that mean Derek is the Alpha? Styles shook his head. No. That's what Scott and I thought at first too. But Derek's eyes glow blue, not red. Allison said. Since he and his sister are werewolves, then the whole Hale family probably was too. Which means there's another survivor, someone else from the Hale family. And he's probably the Alpha. Styles said. The only other known survivor is their uncle. But he's in the hospital. He's been in a coma for 6 years. And although he is awake now, he can't even move a muscle. Scott added. Yeah, Derek took me to see him yesterday. He was in a wheelchair, half his face is burned, and he just sits there, completely unresponsive. Jacob thought to himself. Well, it is time to expose Peter. Then he imagined himself spraying Peter in the face with bear spray while Peter pretended to be sick, and couldn't help but chuckled. Styles looked at him suspiciously. You evil snake, you're planning something bad again, aren't you? Jacob said. No, I'm planning something fun. Then he smirked. Styles, I think we should pay Derek's uncle a visit. And bring some bear spray with us. Styles smirked back. I like the way you think. Scott looked alarmed. Are you guys serious? You can't just spray a disabled guy. What if he's not the Alpha? Styles shrugged. And what if he is? Jacob added. Even if he's not, maybe the bear spray will wake him up from his daze. Styles nodded. Yeah, we'll be doing him a favor. We will cure him. Jacob grinned. Then it's settled. Let's take Derek with us and do it tonight. Styles said. Agreed. But let's not tell Derek about the bear spray. He'll try to stop us. Scott groaned. You guys are evil. Allison looked at Jacob. Jay, can I go with you? Jacob shook his head firmly. Definitely not. You're just a normal human. I can't risk taking you. If Derek's uncle is really the Alpha, things will be very dangerous. Allison crossed her arms and looked at Styles. What is he? Styles blinked. Me. I'm normal. I have no powers. Then Allison looked back at Jacob. Then why are you taking him with you? Jacob said casually. Because I don't care if he gets hurt. Styles looked offended. Hey, that's hurtful. Jacob got serious. If Derek's uncle really is the Alpha, I'll be the only one strong enough to fight him. And if it comes to that, I need to be fully focused. I can't protect anyone else during the fight. Styles asked. Wait, you fought the Alpha before, right? So who's stronger? You or him? Jacob answered. The first time I fought him, it was just a day after I awakened my bloodline, so he was stronger than me. But now, I think I can beat him. Or at least tie with him. Styles raised a brow. Are you sure? Jacob nodded. Yeah, and he knows I'm dangerous too. Otherwise, he would have attacked me that night at the video store. Styles asked. Say, if you manage to beat him, what are you going to do with him? Jacob shrugged. Nothing. As long as he doesn't mess with me and my girls, I don't care what he does. Scott frowned. And what about us? Aren't you going to protect us too? Jacob looked at him and smirked. You two aren't beautiful girls, so why should I protect you? Scott frowned. I thought we were friends. Jacob grinned. Fine, I'll tell him to stop bothering you, but only if I win. If I tie with him, he wouldn't listen to me. Besides Scott, you need to learn to protect yourself. Scott nodded. That's fair enough, and I will try to get stronger. Jacob noticed Styles staring at him, wide-eyed, and asked. Hey, dumbass, what's wrong with you? Styles blinked. You just said, as long as he doesn't mess with me and my girls. Does that mean you three are dating? Jacob smirked and threw his arms around Allison and Lydia. Yep, I'm too handsome for them to resist. When I asked them both to date me, they couldn't say no. Lydia just rolled her eyes with a smirk. She didn't care about Jacob's narcissism. Allison elbowed him. Hey, I thought we agreed to keep it between the three of us. Styles snorted. He already told us the day we met him, said his dream was to have a harem. Don't worry, we won't tell anyone. Jacob leaned back smugly. Speaking of dreams, me and Scott already achieved ours. I'm dating two gorgeous girls, and Scott's the captain of the lacrosse team. But Styles, you still haven't become Superman. Styles shot him a glare. Screw you. They all laughed, and Jacob said, don't worry, Styles. If that crazy supernatural doctor I know comes up with something to make humans stronger, I'll get it for you. Styles raised an eyebrow. The same crazy doctor who gave you that healing medicine that made people fart. Jacob chuckled. Yep. You want it or not? Styles shrugged. I mean, I can deal with farting, or even diarrhea, if it makes me stronger. But if the side effects include turning into a frog or losing my hair, I hope you can tell me in advance. Jacob smirked. Sure. And hey, if you don't want the medicine, you could always become a werewolf like Scott. Styles quickly shook his head. No thanks. I don't think I could control myself if I became a werewolf. So for now, I'll stay human. Lydia looked at Scott. Hey, Scott, can you turn into a beast like the Alpha? Scott shook his head. No, all I can do is this. He shifted. His eyes glowed yellow, fur sprouted from his cheeks. Then he went further. His face became wolf-like, fur grew on his arms, and his skin darkened to a dark gray color. Allison and Lydia both stared at him in fascination. Lydia said bluntly. Fascinating. But, you don't look good. Your werewolf form is ugly. Scott shifted back, clearly a little offended. What does being good-looking have to do with anything? As long as I'm strong, it doesn't matter. Lydia shrugged. Well, beauty comes first. Strength comes second. Styles rolled his eyes. Yeah, well, when you're fighting something like the Alpha, nobody cares if you're good-looking or not. What matters is strength. If you're not strong enough, you'll end up dead. Lydia smirked. But Scott not only doesn't look good in his werewolf form, he's also weaker than the Alpha. So he'll die anyway if he fights the Alpha, and he'll die ugly. Jacob laughed. Alright, Lydia, stop bullying Scott. He can't control how he looks when he shifts. Then he looked at both Scott and Styles. By the way, have either of you told your parents about the supernatural stuff? Scott looked uncomfortable. No, I haven't. I'm not ready. I'm scared my mom will look at me differently, or worse, be afraid of me. Jacob said. You should trust her more. She's your mother. She'll love you no matter what. Besides, it's safer for her to know what's really going on. He turned to Styles. Same goes for you. You should tell your dad and let him know that what he's dealing with isn't a mountain lion. Styles sighed. He wouldn't believe me even if I tell him. So when I'm ready, I'll need Scott's help, or yours. Jacob nodded. Okay. I'll help if you need me. Styles said. Thanks. Then he glanced at the bestiary on the table. By the way, can't you find out what you were with the help of this book? Jacob shook his head. Nope. Styles raised an eyebrow. Did you even try? Did you look for creatures with eyes like yours? Jacob nodded. I did. But there are too many creatures with eyes like mine in the bestiary. Reptilian shifters, fox shifters, cat shifters, even shark shifters. Styles blinked. Hold on. Did you just say shark shifters? Yep. Jacob replied. There are shapeshifters that can turn into fish-like creatures. But they mostly live near the sea. Oh, and by the way, mermaids are real too. Lydia's eyes lit up. Are you serious? I loved The Little Mermaid growing up. My grandmother used to call me Ariel. Jacob scratched the back of his head. Well, I hate to disappoint you, Lydia. But real mermaids aren't exactly like Ariel. There are different kinds of them. Some are beautiful, but they're not exactly nice. There's a race called finfolk. They lure men into the water and, rape them. Apparently, they only give birth to females, and the men usually die afterward for some reason. Lydia stared at him. What? That can't be real. Jacob shrugged. That's what's written in the book. And believe it or not, those ones are actually considered the nicer kind of mermaids I've read about. Allison said. Wait, are you saying the other kinds are worse? Jacob nodded. Yeah, there's another kind, ugly, sharp teeth, full-blown cannibals. And then there are sirens. They're beautiful but deadly. Their songs hypnotize sailors and lure them to their deaths. They don't even need to live in the sea, they can walk among humans, and they like to control humans mentally and cause chaos. Lydia frowned. You're saying there are no nice mermaids at all? Jacob said. I don't know. I haven't read the whole bestiary yet. Maybe there are some nice ones, but so far, it's not looking good. Styles sighed and leaned back on the couch. You know, when you think about it, about all the crazy, dangerous creatures out there, you start to realize how terrifying this world really is. Everyone went quiet, the thought sinking in. Even Jacob, for a moment, felt a chill as he imagined all the deadly creatures hiding in the shadows of the supernatural world. I've got to get stronger. Jacob thought. Strong enough to protect myself, and everyone I care about. Trying to shift the mood, Jacob clapped his hands. All right. No more thinking about scary monsters. Styles, tell us a joke. Styles blinked. What? You can't catch me off guard like that. I can't tell a joke on demand. Jacob leaned forward and said. All right then, let me tell you guys a story. Allison and Lydia perked up with interest. Lydia smiled and said. Go ahead, we're listening. Jacob began. In the year 1999, a man from Texas traveled to India and lived in a village for a few months. One day, while he was there, an elephant came to his house, wounded by an arrow in one of its legs. The man pulled the arrow out, bandaged the injury, and took care of the elephant until it fully healed. During that time, the two became friends. The elephant trusted the man, and even after it recovered, it would return from time to visit, hugging the man with its trunk and playing gently with him. But eventually, the man had to return to Texas. Lydia asked. Then what happened? Did he take the elephant with him? Jacob chuckled. Nope. After a sad goodbye, he left the elephant behind in India and went home. 10 years later, a circus came to Texas, and the man decided to attend. During the elephant show, a massive bull elephant went wild, ignoring its trainer and charging toward the crowd, directly toward the section where the man was sitting. He paused dramatically. People were running in every direction, panicking, but not the man. He stood up and walked toward the elephant with a big smile, arms open wide. As the huge bull reached him, it wrapped its trunk around the man and hugged him. Lydia smiled. It was his old elephant friend from India. Allison rolled her eyes. Lydia, let him finish the story. Jacob smirked. So, the elephant hugged the man with its trunk and lifted him high. The man's smile grew wider, but suddenly the elephant slammed him to the ground and began stomping on him. It crushed him, shattered his bones and killed him on the spot. Allison, Lydia, Styles, and Scott sat there in stunned silence. Jacob looked at them, grinned and said. It was not his old elephant friend from India. Then Jacob burst out laughing. Lydia pinched him. That wasn't funny. I thought it was going to be a happy ending. Scott and Styles lost it, laughing so hard they nearly fell off the couch. Styles wiped a tear from his eye. That's hilarious. That man was an idiot. Allison laughed and shook her head. Well, at least he died with a smile on his face. Chapter 36. Meeting Peter. Jacob and the others stayed in the living room chatting until evening, when Allison got a call from her mother. After she ended the call, she said. That was my mom. I need to go back home. Lydia, let's go. Lydia said. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here tonight. You can't stay here. Allison said. But I don't feel like going home. Lydia said. Are things still bad at home? Allison asked gently. Yes. Lydia sighed. My dad's moving out tonight, and I don't feel like hearing him and my mom fight. You could spend the night at my house. Allison offered. Maybe another time. Right now, I just want to be with Jay. Lydia said softly. Allison hugged her and whispered. All right. Just remember to keep your promise. I will. Lydia whispered back. Allison let go and turned to Jacob. I came here in Lydia's car, so you have to drive me home. All right. Jacob said. Then he looked at Lydia. I might be late tonight, so don't wait up for me. Go to sleep early. If you're hungry, there's food in the kitchen. Why are you going to be late? Lydia asked. We're going after the alpha, remember? So I might be a little late. Lydia hugged him, worry on her face. Then be careful. If you can't beat him, use Styles and Scott to distract him and run away. From the couch, Styles said dryly. We can hear you, you know. I know. Lydia replied. I just don't care. Jacob smiled and leaned in, kissing her on the lips. Styles watched them for a second, then looked away and sighed. It seems Lydia's really in love with him. Even when she was with Jackson, she was never like this. Jackson was more like her dog than her boyfriend. But with Jacob, she's gentle and genuinely concerned for his safety. It's time for me to move on, I guess. Jacob broke the kiss and said. Don't worry, I'll be fine. I'm not sleeping until you come back. Lydia said firmly. Jacob kissed her again before letting go, then headed upstairs to change clothes. When he came back down, he took Allison's hand and looked at Styles and Scott. Let's go. The four of them left in Styles' Jeep, heading toward Allison's house. Jacob and Allison sat in the back seat, hugging each other, while Styles drove with Scott in the passenger seat. Allison said quietly. Can you please take me with you? I'll do exactly as you say and stay behind you the whole time. Jacob ran his fingers through her hair. Sorry, I can't take you tonight. I'm still not completely sure about my strength, and I won't risk putting you in danger. But don't worry, I'll find a way to make you stronger in the future, so you can stand by my side and fight with me. Allison's eyes lit up. Really? You promise? Yes. Jacob said with a smile. I promise. Allison grinned, climbed onto his lap, and they began making out. Styles glanced in the rearview mirror. Hey, you two. What do you think you're doing back there? Jacob and Allison ignored him. They're kissing, can't you see? Scott said casually. I can see that. Styles grumbled. And I don't like it. I haven't even kissed a girl in my car, and this stupid snake is not only kissing a hot girl in my car, but he's got another hot girl waiting for him at home. He sighed heavily. This isn't fair. I'm so depressed right now, I feel like crashing this car and killing us all. Scott smirked. Better not. I'd probably survive. Jacob would definitely survive and save Allison, so the only one you'd be killing is yourself. Styles groaned. Now I'm even more depressed. After a short drive, Styles pulled up in front of the Argent house and stopped the car. He glanced at the back seat, where Jacob and Allison were still locked in a deep kiss, and said, Hey, you two perverts, we're here. Jacob and Allison pulled apart. Already? Jacob said. That was quick ride. Hey, Styles, how about you take us for another 15 minutes? No, make it 30. Styles' eye twitched. Screw you, man. Get out of my car. Jacob chuckled. Fine. You could have just said no, you didn't have to yell. He stepped out, followed by Allison, who was blushing furiously and avoiding both Styles and Scott's eyes. Good night, guys. She muttered, then walked with Jacob toward her house. As they walked, she pinched his arm. That was embarrassing. Did you do something with your charm ability? I was so lost in kissing you I forgot Scott and Styles were even there. Jacob raised an eyebrow. What? First of all, my charm doesn't work like that, it just makes me more attractive. And second, weren't you the one who climbed onto my lap and started kissing me like there was no tomorrow? I'm not complaining, I wish the ride had been longer, but that was definitely your fault, you pervert. Allison kicked his leg lightly. You're the pervert. And since I said it's your fault, it's your fault. Jacob sighed. How many times do I have to tell you? Stop with the kicking. They reached the front door, and Jacob suddenly pushed her gently against the wall. What are you doing? Allison asked. Why died? Since you blamed me for what happened in the car. Jacob said with a smirk. I'm taking the initiative this time. He leaned in and kissed her. She kissed him back, and soon they were lost in each other again, forgetting everything else. Back in the Jeep, Styles and Scott were watching. Those two are seriously horny. Styles muttered. Then his eyes lit up as he spotted Chris Argent stepping out of the house. Ooh, I think Jacob's about to get unlucky. Scott just smiled knowingly. Jacob was so focused on kissing Allison that he didn't hear the door open. An angry Chris walked up silently, pulled out his gun, and pressed it to the back of Jacob's head. Jacob froze, hands going up. Don't shoot. You can take all my money. Dad. Allison gasped, pulling away. What are you doing? Chris' eyes didn't leave Jacob. Weren't you supposed to be grounded for skipping school yesterday? Mom let me go out. Allison said quickly. Get inside. Chris ordered, his voice sharp. I'll deal with you later. Allison opened her mouth to argue, but Chris' glare made her stop. She glanced at Jacob and sighed. Good night, and, good luck. She stuck her tongue out at him before darting into the house. Jacob chuckled, then turned back to Chris. Sir, could you lower the gun? I don't like things like that pointed at my head. Stay away from my daughter. Chris said coldly. Sorry, sir. Jacob smirked. I can't do that. So, go ahead and shoot me if you want. You think I wouldn't dare? Chris said, narrowing his eyes. Oh, I know you'd dare. Jacob said casually. Then he tilted his head toward the Jeep. But if you kill me, you'll have to kill them too. Chris' eyes flicked to Styles and Scott. There will come a time when you're alone. He said. True. Jacob replied with a shrug. But I'm not afraid of you, sir. Besides, if you hurt me, Allison will never forgive you. She'll hate you for the rest of her life. Chris said coldly. I'm her dad, she'll forgive me eventually. Besides, she won't know I was the one who hurt you. Jacob smirked. I'm not as easy to bully as you think, sir. He placed his hand on the gun that was still pointing at him and, with deliberate force, pushed it downward. No matter how much Chris tried to resist, he couldn't stop Jacob from lowering it. After demonstrating just a fraction of his strength, Jacob released Chris's hand and smiled. All right, I have to go now. Good night, sir, it was nice talking to you. Without another glance, he walked back to the jeep and climbed in. Styles drove them away. Chris clenched his jaw, watching them go. I need to figure out what kind of creature he is. He thought. If I can make him angry enough to shift in front of Allison, maybe she'll be afraid of him and stay away from him. And if he's dangerous, I'll kill him. Inside the jeep, Scott glanced at Jacob in the back seat. Aren't you worried Allison's dad might actually kill you? Jacob shook his head. Not really. He was just trying to scare me. Besides, I'm not that easy to kill. Let me show you something cool. He reached behind him and pulled out a sleek pistol, the one he'd gotten as a reward from the system, and held it up for Styles and Scott to see. Styles' eyes went wide, and he pulled the jeep over. Whoa, where did you get that? From my house. Jacob said casually. It used to belong to my parents. Anyway, watch this. He rolled up his sleeve, aimed the gun at his own forearm, and fired. Both Styles and Scott yelled in panic. What are you doing? Jacob winced. Ah, damn, that hurts. Styles stared at him like he'd lost his mind. Of course it hurts, you just shot yourself. Scott's eyes widened. Wait, Styles, look at his arm. The bullet didn't even go through. Styles leaned closer and saw it, a large red mark where the bullet had hit, but no blood. Even as he watched, the mark faded, Jacob's skin rapidly returning to its normal pale color. So, guns can't hurt you? Styles asked. Pretty much. Jacob said with a grin. I've got tough skin. But it still hurts like a bitch, though. Scott frowned. How did you find out guns can't hurt you? Jacob pretended to tuck the pistol into the back of his belt but slipped it into his pocket dimension instead. I tried it at home. Styles gave him a look. So that's why you're not afraid of Allison's dad. Exactly. Jacob said. Like I said, I'm not easy to kill. Now, let's go see Derek's uncle. Just then, a screen appeared in front of Jacob's eyes. Available sign in. Quest sign in. Host can sign in after exposing Peter Hale as the alpha. Jacob's eyes lit up. Great. I wonder what I'll get this time, hopefully something good. He was snapped out of his thoughts by Styles yelling. Hey, did you even hear me? Sorry. Jacob said. What did you say? I said, I still need to stop at my house to grab my bear spray before we head to the hospital. Styles repeated. And we need to call Derek and tell him to meet us there. Okay. Jacob said. Styles kept driving toward his place while Scott pulled out his phone and called Derek, telling him to meet them in front of the hospital without explaining why. It took them only a few minutes to stop by Styles' house, grab the bear spray, and then drive to the hospital. When they arrived, Derek was already waiting by the entrance. He gave Jacob a small nod, then turned to Scott. Why are we here? Scott glanced at Styles. They want to see your uncle. Derek's eyes narrowed. Why? Styles answered quickly. We just want to see what the hunters did to him. Derek listened to Styles' heartbeat and immediately knew he was lying. Before he could call him out, Jacob stepped forward, leaned close to Derek's ear, and whispered. We think your uncle is the alpha. We're here to confirm it. Don't say anything, he might be listening. Derek hesitated, suspicion still in his eyes, but eventually gave a slight nod. Fine. Come with me. I'll show you what the hunters are really capable of. Since visiting hours were over, they had to sneak inside. Moving quietly down the dim hallways, they eventually reached Peter's room. Derek opened the door, and they stepped in. Peter was sitting in his wheelchair, staring blankly at the wall, completely unresponsive. But the moment they entered, he caught Jacob's scent, and for some reason, a chill ran down his spine. Why did Derek bring that little shit here? Peter cursed in his mind, though outwardly he kept up the act of being unaware. Jacob and Styles exchanged a look, both of them smirking. Jacob thought, this is going to be fun. Peter sniffed the air. Damn it. Why are both Scott and Derek nervous? And more importantly, why are the other two excited? Something is not right. Something is definitely not right. Chapter 37. Exposing Peter. The sterile hospital room was eerily quiet. Peter sat motionless in his wheelchair, his scarred face blank, eyes fixed on the wall as if lost in some unfathomable void. Jacob and Styles exchanged mischievous glances. Jacob walked behind Peter's chair, studying the half-burned side of his face with exaggerated fascination. Wow, he murmured, tilting his head. The hunters really did a number on you, huh? He winked at Styles, then leaned down. You know what might help you heal, Peter? A smile, perhaps. Before Derek could react and stop him, Jacob jammed his fingers into the corners of Peter's mouth, forcing a grotesque grin. Then dropping his voice into a low, mocking imitation of the Joker. Why so serious? Styles completely lost it, doubling over with laughter. Peter's jaw twitched, his fingers tightening almost imperceptibly on the armrests. His rage was a living thing, simmering just beneath the surface, but he didn't move. Derek grabbed Jacob's shoulder, yanking him back. Stop. Jacob raised his hands in mock surrender. Okay, okay. But the glint in his eyes told a different story. He picked up Peter's limp hand, turning it over thoughtfully. You know. Jacob mused. I've heard that sometimes the best way to kickstart a werewolf's healing is to hurt them. He glanced at Styles and Scott. Maybe if we break something, he'll wake up. Derek's eyes glowed blue. Jacob, don't. Snap. Peter's finger bent at an unnatural angle. A sharp inhale. A tremor of fury. But still, nothing. Peter didn't move. Jacob smirked. Oh, this bastard is a good actor. He could feel it though, the barely restrained wrath rolling off Peter in waves. Derek shoved Jacob away from Peter and growled. What's wrong with you? Jacob shrugged. I'm just trying to help. Then his eyes lit up. Time to spray him, I guess. Let's see how well he acts through that. He winked at Styles. In perfect sync, they stepped in front of Peter, whipped out 2 cans of bear spray, and blasted him right in the face. Peter's face contorted instantly. His eyes squeezed shut, tears streaming down as the burning chemicals seared into his skin. His nostrils flared, his lips pulled back in a silent snarl, but still, he didn't move. Jacob cackled. Styles, I think it's working. We're about to cure him. Let's give him one more. Enough. The deep, guttural growl was followed by an explosion of movement. Peter erupted from the chair in a blur of rage, claws out, fangs bared, eyes blazing red. He swiped at Styles, but Jacob's foot slammed into his ribs, sending him crashing into the wall. The alpha snarled, writhing in pain, his face still dripping from the spray. You little shits. I'm gonna kill you. Peter roared, wiping his face with the bed sheets. Styles gave Jacob a high five. Mission accomplished. Jacob smirked. Yeah, but the bastard looks really pissed. Styles ducked behind him. Exactly. Now you have to protect me. I don't think I can take a single hit from him. Jacob looked over his shoulder. I get why Styles is hiding behind me, but why are you hiding too, Scott? You're supposed to protect Styles. Scott muttered. I don't think I can protect myself, let alone Styles. Derek stared at Peter in shock, his voice a low growl. Why did you kill her, Peter? Why did you kill Laura? Before Jacob or Styles could react, Derek lunged. But Peter, now fully recovered from the bear spray, slipped out of the way with ease. He caught Derek's wrists in a crushing grip. Do you really think I killed Laura on purpose? Without warning, Peter smashed his forehead into Derek's face, then kicked him across the room. Then he walked straight into the bathroom, ignoring Jacob and the others completely. They could hear the water running as Peter washed the last traces of bear spray from his face. When he came back out, he stood over Derek and said, My mind, my personality, they were literally burned out of me. I was being driven by pure instinct. Peter's eyes shifted briefly to Jacob, but Derek surged forward and punched him in the face. Do you want forgiveness? Derek snarled. The punch barely made Peter flinch. Slowly, he turned back to Derek, gripping him by the throat. I want understanding. He slammed his forehead into Derek's face again, then shoved him to the ground. Do you have any idea what it was like for me during those years? Slowly healing, cell by cell, even more slowly coming back to consciousness. Yes, becoming an alpha, taking that from Laura, pushed me past a plateau in my healing. I couldn't help it. Jacob stepped forward. Cut the bullshit. You wanted her power, and you took it. Peter's tone was deceptively calm. Like I said, I wasn't myself. Jacob smirked. So you expect me to believe a mindless beta overpowered an alpha? That's bullshit. Here's what I think happened. You planned it. You drew her here, played the concerned uncle, let her drop her guard, and then killed her before she could react. Peter growled. That's not what happened, you little shit. Maybe not exactly like that. Jacob admitted. But I know a beta can't take on an alpha, just like Derek here can't beat you. You're way stronger than him. It's like a grown man fighting a child. Jacob's smirk deepened. My guess. You even used wolfsbane to weaken her. That struck a nerve. With a roar, Peter lunged, but Jacob sidestepped, his fist slamming into Peter's face. Crack. Peter's nose broke audibly as he was launched across the room, smashing into the wall. He got back up almost instantly, blood dripping from his nose, but it was already healing. His wide eyes locked on Jacob, shocked. Jacob grinned. That's right. I'm stronger than I was the night we fought in the woods. Derek stared at Jacob too, clearly surprised. He'd always known Jacob was strong, but to match an alpha. That was another level entirely. Peter wiped the last of the blood from his face, the burns on his skin disappearing as well. Styles said, "You could heal yourself like this the whole time. Why didn't you do it sooner?" Peter smirked. "I was waiting for the right moment." He turned toward a mirror, admiring his reflection. "But when you look this good, why wait?" While Peter was lost in vanity, Jacob casually strolled up behind him and kicked him hard in the balls. Peter dropped to the ground with a strangled howl. Jacob kicked him away and muttered, "Damn, this guy's more narcissistic than me." Jacob glanced at the mirror and smirked. "Still, I'm more handsome than him. You guys agree, right?" Styles opened his mouth to respond, but Scott quickly clamped a hand over it. "Yes, absolutely. You're more handsome than Peter, Jacob." Styles pulled Scott's hand away. "What are you?" "I don't know what you were about to say." Scott cut in. "But I'm pretty sure it was sarcastic. Jacob's a narcissist who thinks he's the most handsome man alive. So if you don't want to end up like Peter over there, keep your mouth shut." Styles looked from Jacob, who was still admiring himself in the mirror, to Peter, who was still curled on the ground in pain. A shiver ran down his spine. "Thanks," he muttered to Scott. "I still want to have kids someday." Peter's low growl rumbled through the room. His body began to shift, bones stretching, muscles swelling, clothes tearing as fur sprouted. His eyes burned a violent red as he rose into a towering beast, gaze locked on Jacob with pure hatred. Just then, a screen flashed before Jacob's eyes. Available sign in. Quest sign in. Host can sign in after fighting Peter and winning the fight. Note: no sign in opportunity if you lose or draw. Jacob's grin widened. Interesting. I've been looking forward to a rematch. He said to Peter. But we can't fight here. Follow me. Without another word, Jacob bolted out of the room. Peter roared and charged after him, the sound of his heavy steps shaking the floor. Derek, Styles, and Scott stood frozen. Should we follow them? Styles asked. Scott shook his head. Did you see how fast they were? Even if we wanted to, we couldn't catch up. Derek said. Let's get out of here. Maybe we can track them down. Meanwhile, in the woods. As Jacob sprinted, he sent a thought to the system. System, I completed the quest of exposing Peter. Sign in. Quest sign in successful. Rewards obtained. Dragonborn shout Fus Ro Da, Skyrim, shout enemies away with a roar. No need to say the words. Banana peel, Mario Kart, place it on the ground. Guaranteed to make someone slip. 3 peels per day. Resets at midnight. Rolls-Royce Ghost 2011. Jacob grinned while running. Niece. The Dragonborn shout will be useful, and at least I don't have to yell those cringe words. The banana peel is hilarious. And a Rolls-Royce Ghost. I think it's worth $250,000. I'd love to see it now, but unfortunately, I've got an angry alpha on my tail. He glanced around. This is far enough. No one will interrupt us here. Perfect time to test the banana peel. From his pocket dimension, he pulled out a single yellow peel and casually dropped it on the trail ahead. Stopping a short distance away, he turned toward Peter with a wicked grin. The enraged alpha rushed forward without slowing, his massive foot landing squarely on the peel. The effect was instant. Peter's legs flew out from under him and he spun through the air, tumbling forward like a cartoon character before smashing headfirst into a tree. Jacob doubled over laughing. Oh, that's even better than I imagined. Peter staggered up, shaking his head. For a moment, some of the rage cleared from his eyes, replaced by confusion. What happened? What did you do to me? Jacob shrugged innocently. Me? Nothing. You just slipped on something, dumbass. His eyes shifted to a molten gold glow. Now, enough talking. Let's fight. Both of them roared, and launched at each other. Chapter 38. A rematch with Peter. The forest was alive with the sounds of snapping branches and guttural snarls as Jacob and Peter fought each other. Peter, in his monstrous alpha form, was a nightmare of muscle, claws, and fangs, his red eyes blazing with primal fury. Jacob grinned through the adrenaline. He didn't need to shift, his human form was more than enough to meet the alpha blow for blow. They had been fighting for a while now, testing each other's strength, trading brutal hits. Jacob blocked a savage claw swipe, answering with a sharp elbow to Peter's ribs. The alpha snarled and lunged again, but Jacob twisted aside, driving a crushing kick into Peter's knee. The joint buckled, but Peter stayed standing. Peter growled and attacked again, this time with a brutal swipe meant to gut him. Jacob twisted, letting the claws pass inches from his ribs, and countered with a crushing uppercut to Peter's jaw, making him spit blood. Peter answered with a brutal punch to Jacob's ribs that sent him sliding back across the forest floor. Jacob looked at Peter with his glowing golden eyes and laughed. This is fun. Then Jacob thought, let's try my new ability. As Peter charged again, Jacob took a deep breath and, instead of dodging, he roared. The force that erupted from him was invisible but devastating, a shockwave of raw power that ripped through the air like a hurricane. Peter was sent flying backward like a ragdoll. He smashed through a tangle of underbrush before slamming spine first into a tree. Bark splintered and rained down, and for a few seconds, Peter lay dazed. Jacob grinned. Cool. I love this ability very much. Peter got up, now almost losing his sanity, and attacked Jacob. They fought like that for about an hour, equally matched, and Jacob was enjoying the fight very much. But after having his fun, Jacob used his dragon roar again and sent Peter flying away, crashing into a tree with a dull, echoing thud. He cracked his knuckles. Let's wrap this up. I've got a beauty waiting for me at home. Then Jacob shifted. Scales rippled across his chest, shoulders, and the backs of his hands, hidden beneath his clothes but strengthening him nonetheless. His dragon aura flared, an ancient, predatory pressure that made the very air tremble. Peter hesitated, his instincts screaming at him to run, but pride and rage won out. With a furious howl, he attacked again. But this time, it was different. Jacob was stronger and faster. Every attack Peter threw was blocked or deflected. Every strike Jacob landed hit like a hammer. His clawed slash ripped deep into Peter's chest, painting the forest floor with the alpha's blood. A punch shattered Peter's snout. A spinning kick sent him crashing into another tree. Jacob didn't stop. With a powerful drop kick, he shattered Peter's shoulder with a sickening crack, but the alpha healed, snarling through the pain. They clashed again, each impact sending shockwaves through the trees. Trunks splintered, leaves rained down, and the earth itself seemed to shudder under their fury. Another hour passed in a blur of violence. But Peter was tiring. His breathing grew ragged, his healing was slowing and more wounds appeared on his body. Peter realized he was no match for Jacob and decided to run away while he still could. With a frustrated growl, Peter turned and bolted deeper into the woods. Jacob didn't hesitate, he gave chase, weaving through the trees like a shadow. They fought as they ran, trading blows mid-sprint. Finally, Jacob saw his opening. He tackled Peter, slamming him into the ground. Peter, panting and bloodied, tried to rise, but Jacob straddled his chest and pinned him by the throat. Remember when we first fought? Jacob said, a smirk tugging at his lips. I told you I'd get my revenge. Then he started punching Peter's wolf-like face, once, twice, over and over. Peter thrashed, snarling, but the fight was leaving him. His monstrous form melted away, leaving only a broken, bloodied man beneath Jacob. Panting, Jacob stood. He looked down at Peter's battered body and sighed, satisfaction humming through his veins. That was fun, he said, before dropping to sit beside his defeated opponent. After a while, Peter's breathing steadied. With difficulty, he turned his head toward Jacob, who was sitting casually beside him. You won, kid. Peter rasped. So, are you going to kill me now? Jacob lay back on the ground, hands behind his head. Nah, we don't have some deep grudge or anything like that. Honestly, I just wanted to fight you to see how strong I really am. Then his tone hardened. But whatever grudge you have against the Argents, leave Allison out of it. Because if you hurt her, I will kill you. And as long as you don't threaten me and the people close to me, I won't care about you. Peter's eyes narrowed. Does that include my beta? Yes. That includes Scott, and Styles, too. And definitely don't touch the redhead you saw me with at the video store. Peter smirked. But I want Scott in my pack. Jacob snorted. If you want a beta, make more. And stay away from Scott. Why are you so obsessed with him anyway? It's not obsession. Peter said flatly. It's just harder to make betas than you think. Most people don't survive the bite. Jacob thought to himself. It was very easy for Derek. Peter said. By the way, what are you? Jacob shrugged. I don't know what I am. I awakened my bloodline the day before I met you that night in the woods, and my parents are dead, so there's no one left to tell me what I am. Standing, Jacob dusted himself off. Alright, time for me to go. If I were you, I'd run and hide. In your condition right now, anyone could kill you, especially Derek. And he's probably looking for us right now. A smirk tugged at his lips. And just a heads up, if I meet Derek in the woods, I'll tell him exactly where you are. See you around, Peter. Good luck surviving the night. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Peter, broken and beaten, in the dirt. The forest fell eerily silent, and Peter panicked. He started crawling away, trying to leave and hide until he recovered. After an hour of walking, Jacob muttered to himself. I didn't realize during the fight, but we went really deep into the woods. He decided to run, using his supernatural speed to cover ground quickly. Before long, he came across Scott, Styles, and Derek. Both Derek and Scott had traces of blood on them. Though their wounds were healed, they were clearly wounded by something. Jacob stopped in front of them. What happened to you guys? Styles immediately ran up and hugged him dramatically. Great, you're here. Please save us. Something's hunting us and we have no idea what it is. Jacob pushed him away and focused his senses. His gaze shifted toward a dense patch of bushes about 10 meters away, where two glowing white eyes peered back at them. Look, Jacob said. It's over there. Styles peeked from behind Jacob's shoulder. Derek and Scott turned in the same direction and spotted the creature too. Jacob glanced at Derek. You have no idea what that is. Never seen anything like it. Derek admitted. Can't you and Scott beat it? Jacob asked. It's not that strong. Derek replied. But it's fast, and we had to protect stupid Styles, so it managed to cut us with its claws. Jacob smirked. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with. He took a banana peel and casually tossed it near the bushes where the creature was hiding. The creature couldn't fight the urge to step on the banana peel for some bizarre reason, so it got out of the bush, stepped on it, slipped, did a perfect 360 degrees flip, before sprawling flat on its back like a cartoon character. Styles shone his phone's flashlight on it and blurted. Damn, what is that thing? Looks like a zombie, but it's way too fast to be a zombie. The creature rose to its feet. It was about 6 feet tall, humanoid but twisted, pale, smooth, hairless skin stretched over a hunched frame, dagger-like teeth, long sharp claws, and glowing white eyes. Jacob thought. Well, this is new. That thing never showed up in the Teen Wolf series. But this isn't just a show, it's a real world filled with supernatural creatures. So I guess it's normal for supernatural freaks to show up everywhere. Jacob released his dragon aura, and the creature froze instantly in fear, its glowing eyes locked on Jacob, every muscle trembling. It didn't even dare breathe too loud. Derek and Scott felt Jacob's aura as well. For a moment, both of them stiffened in fear, but since it wasn't directed at them, the pressure quickly eased. Scott asked, Jacob, do you know what that thing is? Jacob nodded. Yeah, I read about it in the bestiary. It's called the rake. A cannibal creature that lives in the woods, usually feeds on animals, but it eats humans too. Styles gulped. I think I should read that creepy book of yours when we get back. Jacob smirked. You should. It can save your life. If you had read it, you'd know the rake is terrified of bright light. All you had to do was turn on every flashlight you had, and it wouldn't have dared to come near you. Styles muttered. Yeah, I really need to read that book. Jacob turned to Scott. Go kill it. What? No. I can't. Why don't we just let it go? Scott stammered. In a blur of speed, Jacob appeared in front of the frozen creature. His clawed hand plunged into its chest, piercing its heart. The rake collapsed instantly, dead before it hit the ground. Jacob stepped aside, leaning against a tree as he retched. He quickly pulled himself together, wiping his mouth. Styles, who saw Jacob kill the rake, was scared but tried to mask his fear with sarcasm. So, Mr. Tough Guy still pukes after killing something, huh? Jacob shrugged. That's natural, I guess. It was my first time killing something other than bugs. Scott frowned. Couldn't you just let it go? Derek turned on him. Let it go. Scott, that thing was a cannibal. It tried to kill us. If it had been normal humans out here instead of us, they'd be dead already. If Jacob hadn't killed it, I would have. Jacob looked Scott in the eye. Scott, there are creatures you never spare if you run into them, and the rake is one of them. He crouched, picking up fallen branches. Now, help me burn it. We can't risk leaving a monster's corpse in these woods. The last thing we need is some paranormal investigator stumbling upon it and bringing a media circus to town. The four of them gathered enough wood and piled it over the creature's corpse. Jacob flicked open a lighter and tossed it in. Flames quickly consumed the body, the fire crackling in the night as the smell of burning flesh drifted through the trees. While they watched the fire burn, Derek glanced at Jacob. What happened to Peter? Jacob smirked. I beat his ass and left him lying in the dirt, deep in the woods. Derek opened his mouth to ask which direction, but Jacob cut him off. If you're thinking about going after him, don't. I left him really deep in the woods. I walked for an hour, then ran at full speed for another 10 minutes before I ran into you guys. You can imagine how far that is. Besides, he's probably already gone. And who knows what other things are hunting out there this late at night. It's dangerous to be alone in the woods at night, even for a werewolf. Derek thought about it, then reluctantly gave up. Scott asked. Jacob, did you tell him to stop bothering me? Jacob nodded. Yep. I told him to stop messing with you and Styles. So even if he asks you to join his pack, he'll have to ask nicely. Once the rake had burned to ash, Jacob stretched. Alright, you single losers, I'm heading home. Styles raised a hand. Wait, before you go, how did you make that thing show itself and slip like that? Jacob grinned. Oh, that. I used this. He pulled a banana peel from his pocket and held it up. Styles blinked. Are you kidding me? A banana peel? Jacob smirked. Not just any banana peel. This is one of the inventions from my crazy supernatural scientist friend. Then, without warning, Jacob tossed it on the ground. Scott, overcome by some strange compulsion, suddenly ran forward and stepped on it. He slipped, did a perfect 360 degrees flip in the air, and landed face-first in the dirt. Jacob doubled over laughing. See? Magical powers. When I throw it, the target has to step on it. They can't resist. Styles's eyes lit up. Cool. You got more. Yeah. Jacob said. But I left the extras at home. Scott got up, fuming. Jacob, I'm going to kill you. Jacob grinned. Don't be mad. I was going to use it on Styles, but he's a normal human, he might have gotten hurt. And I already used that farting medicine on Rocket Man over here. He pointed at Derek. So you were the only option left. Derek groaned. Damn it, stop bringing that up. Scott, let's teach him a lesson. Jacob stepped back, smirking. As much as I'd love to beat your asses, I don't have time tonight. Maybe next time. And with that, he sprinted off, shouting over his shoulder. Good night, idiots. See you later. Scott stood there, fuming. Derek was red with anger and embarrassment, while Styles laughed his head off, until Derek glared at him. The laughter died instantly. Styles hid behind Scott. Scott, I think we should leave too. Scott didn't answer, just started walking. Styles followed, glancing back at Derek, who was trailing behind them. Scott. Styles whispered. Was that banana peel really magical? Scott sighed. Yeah. The moment Jacob threw it, all I could think about was stepping on it. I couldn't fight the urge. Styles grinned. Cool. I've got to get one from him. Derek said. I'm more surprised by how strong Jacob is. Do you guys even know what he is? Styles shook his head. No, we don't, and he doesn't know either. But he's our friend and that's good enough for me. You trust him? Derek asked. Scott said firmly. Yes, we do. Although he likes to prank people, I trust him. We both do. And I owe him a lot because if it wasn't for him, I would have lost control and killed someone on the full moon. Chapter 39. Bath, Banter, and Buffs. As soon as Jacob stepped out of the woods and found the road, he pulled his new car out from his pocket dimension and admired it. It was a sleek, beautiful silver Rolls-Royce Ghost. Jacob walked around it, running his hands along the polished surface with a big grin. What a gorgeous car, he thought. System, you're the best. Noticing his dirty, torn clothes, he stripped them off and burned them with his fire ability. Then, pulling some water from his pocket dimension, he gave himself a quick shower. From the same space, he retrieved a fresh set of clothes, rewards from his daily sign-ins, and slipped them on. Once ready, he climbed into the Rolls-Royce and drove home, enjoying the smooth ride, and humming a tune along the way. When he arrived home, parked in front of the mansion, and stepped out, the front door opened. Lydia appeared in a nightgown, her hair loose over her shoulders. You're late, she said, walking toward him. It's 1:30. I was worried about you. Jacob kissed her. I'm fine. And I told you I'd be late, didn't I? Besides, you can talk to me telepathically, did you forget? I didn't forget. Lydia replied. But I was worried that if you were fighting that alpha, I'd distract you and get you hurt. Next time, if you want to talk to me, just do it. Jacob said. Don't worry about anything else. All right, she said softly. By the way, was Derek's uncle really the alpha? Jacob nodded. Yes. And I fought him. Did you win? I beat him until he couldn't move. Lydia kissed him deeply. Good. I don't like losers. And as my man, you should never lose to anyone. Her eyes then shifted to the car. Fancy. Whose car is this? Mine. Jacob said casually. Lydia raised an eyebrow. Do you have a sugar mommy or something? I know this car is expensive. Jacob smiled inwardly. In a way, yes. The system is my sugar mommy. But I'm not telling her that. Out loud, he said. No. I bought it with my own money a few days ago. It just arrived tonight. She ran her hand over the hood. How much? $250,000. Jacob replied. Lydia's eyes widened. I didn't expect it to be that expensive. You really are rich, aren't you? I guess I am. She hugged him with a smirk. Then tomorrow, you're taking me shopping. Jacob kissed her. Of course. The two walked into the house and closed the door behind them. I'm starving. Jacob said. Lydia said with a playful smile. How about we take a bath together first? Jacob gave her a look. She winked. We promised Allison no sex, but there are a lot of other fun things we can do. Jacob scooped her into his arms. Say less. He carried her upstairs to the bathroom, and the two of them enjoyed a bath that left Jacob grinning like an idiot. When they were done, they stayed in the tub, wrapped in each other's arms, both wearing satisfied smiles on their faces. After a while, Jacob stood, scooping Lydia into his arms and carrying her out of the tub. After drying off, they dressed and headed downstairs. In the kitchen, Jacob dug into a massive meal while Lydia sat across from him, shaking her head. She wasn't even surprised anymore after witnessing his ridiculous appetite at lunch. Once he was done, they returned upstairs to Jacob's bedroom and lay together, holding each other close. Lydia kissed him softly. Good night. Good night. Jacob replied, turning off the lights. But in his mind, he called out, System, I beat Peter, so sign in. Quest sign in successful. Rewards obtained. Mirakuru, Arrow, DC Comics times 10. Grants super strength, speed, and rapid healing equal to a beta werewolf, with no side effects. Only works on normal humans. Cogman's Summoning Scroll. Summons Cogman from Transformers, The Last Knight, a polite but sociopathic Autobot butler who can transform into an Aston Martin DB9. Dragon Blood Elixir. Strengthens the host and can awaken more traits of the dragon bloodline after consumption. Jacob's eyes lit up. System, can I use the Mirakuru? The Mirakuru can only be used by non-supernaturals, so the host cannot use it. Can Lydia use it? She's a banshee. She can, probably. Probably. I'm not certain, host. A banshee is supernatural, but they lack super strength, speed, and rapid healing, so she might be able to use it. In any case, you can let her drink the Mirakuru, it has no side effects. Jacob sighed. Let's hope it makes her stronger. Now, the Dragon Blood Elixir, I wonder just how much stronger I'll get after using it. And as for Cogman, I know him. He's a crazy transformer, but, hey, system, will Cogman be loyal to me after I summon him? Yes, host. You will be his master, but his personality will not change. He is, a bit crazy. Jacob chuckled. Well, as long as he's loyal, that's fine. He's fun. Besides, I've always wanted a transformer. Jacob sat up and turned the lights on. Lydia, who was still awake, frowned. What's wrong? Jacob took a small vial filled with a glowing green liquid from his pocket dimension. I forgot to give you this. Lydia sat up, curious. What is it? He handed it to her. Something good. Drink it. Without hesitation, Lydia took the vial, uncorked it, and downed the contents in one go. Almost immediately, her skin flushed red, and a wave of heat washed over her. She gasped. What's going on? Jacob asked. Are you in pain? No, she said quickly. I just feel hot. My whole body is numb and tingly. Jacob smiled. Good. That means it's working. She asked. What's working? And what did I just drink? Jacob raised a brow. Why didn't you ask before drinking it? Because I trust you, she said simply. And I know you wouldn't hurt me. Jacob leaned in, kissing her softly before answering. That was a potion that will make you as strong as a beta werewolf, without any side effects. Her eyes widened. Really? Really? Jacob nodded. You'll have rapid healing, super strength, and speed. Where did you even get something like that? I know a crazy supernatural scientist who loves making magical stuff. He used to be a friend of my parents. Whenever he creates something good, he lets me know, and if I like it, I buy it from him. It must be expensive. It is. Jacob admitted with a smirk. But I have money. Lydia clenched her fists and grinned. I can feel it, I can feel myself getting stronger. Jacob's tone grew serious again. You're sure there's no pain? No pain, she said, shaking her head. But I should probably go to the bathroom, I'm sweating like crazy. She got up and left for the bathroom. Jacob reached into his pocket dimension again and pulled out another vial, this one filled with a deep red liquid, the dragon blood elixir. Without hesitation, he drank it. A burning heat surged through his veins, flooding his entire body. For 10 long minutes, it raged, before finally fading. Jacob stood still for a moment, then clenched his fists, feeling the raw strength flowing through him. I feel powerful, let's see what's changed. He shifted. His eyes flared gold. His fangs and claws lengthened, black scales covered his body except his face, which only had a few scales on his cheeks. 2 sharp dragon horns sprouted from his head, curving back slightly. His body size, however, remained the same. He walked to the mirror and looked at his shirtless reflection. Not bad. I don't have wings yet and my size didn't grow, but I feel ridiculously strong. System, show me my status. Status. Name, Jacob Alexander, 16 years old. Species, human, dragon. Abilities. 1. Pyrokinesis. 2. Electrokinesis. 3. Fire and electricity immunity. 4. Standard shifter abilities. 5. Poison immunity. 6. Passive charm. 7. Dragonborn shout Fus Ro Da Skyrim. 8. Dragon fire lightning breath. Weapons and items. Banana peel Mario Kart defective lightsaber, defective invisibility cloak, Excalibur knockoff, the Joker's laughing bomb X20, a can of Popeye's spinach, Mirakuru Arrow DC Comics 09, Senzu Beans *03, expired Senzu Beans *09, a Glock 45. Jacob finished reading his status and his eyes lit up when he saw the new skill, Dragon Fire Lightning Breath. He rushed over to the window, flung it open, and took a deep breath. His chest expanded as he pulled in air, feeling heat swirl in his lungs. His throat tingled, his jaw opened wide, and with a deep roar. Whoosh! A stream of fire burst from his mouth, bright and hot, but not yet overwhelming. The flames surged forward about 5 meters before fading into sparks in the night air. Jacob grinned. Not very strong yet, but I'm satisfied. It'll grow stronger as I do. Curious, he tried the lightning breath next. Unlike the fire, the electricity didn't stream out, it gathered in front of his mouth. Bolts snapped and crackled, forming a sphere of blue-white lightning almost 3 times the size of his head. Jacob roared again, releasing the charged sphere. It shot forward at blinding speed, slicing through the air like a thunderbolt. This time, the attack traveled over 50 meters before its energy finally dissipated. Jacob blinked in surprise. Wow, so much more powerful than the fire breath. But damn, it drains a lot of my energy. Just then, Lydia came running in from the bathroom, wearing nothing but a towel. Jay, what's wrong? She froze when she saw him in his dragon form, horns, scales, claws, and glowing golden eyes. What happened to you? Jacob smirked. Just got a little stronger and decided to test my powers. I heard you roar and thought something was attacking you. She said, walking closer. She reached up, brushing her fingers over his horns and along the scales on his chest. You look hot in this form. Jacob's grin widened. You look hot in that towel too. He pulled her into a quick kiss. Well, Lydia said, stepping back. Since you're fine, I'm going back to the bathroom. I'm still sweating like crazy. My body feels strong, but also kind of numb. Jacob shifted back into his human form, scooped her into his arms, and carried her to the bathroom. The two of them slid into the hot tub, warm water surrounding them as they relaxed in each other's arms. Lydia leaned her head against his chest. Did you give Allison the potion too? Jacob ran a hand through her hair. Not yet. I'll give it to her tomorrow, and I'll give one to Styles too. How many do you have? 10 in total, counting the one I gave you. By the way, thank you. I never actually said it. Jacob kissed her forehead. No need to thank me. We're family. Lydia smiled. Yeah, I'm your wife now. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. We've only known each other for a couple weeks. Jacob chuckled. Yeah, it really is. As she rested against him, Jacob thought about his time in this strange new world. A world that, not long ago, was just a TV show to him. And now here he was, holding Lydia Martin in his arms. I'm really glad I came here. He thought. I'll make sure to live a long, happy life in this world, and I'll do everything I can to give Lydia and Allison a life full of happiness. They stayed like that for over an hour. By the time Lydia's body had fully absorbed the Mirakuru, she felt different, her body was lighter, stronger, and full of power. She tried to stand, but ended up using too much strength. Instead of rising gracefully, she launched herself out of the tub, slipped, and landed hard on the floor. Jacob chuckled. Lydia, you're very strong now. Remember, don't use too much strength. Lydia stood more slowly this time, careful not to break anything. Yeah, I'm really going to have to get used to this. Jacob grinned. If you're not tired, let's head to the backyard and spar. It'll help you get control of your strength. I'm not tired at all. Lydia said with a smile. Actually, I feel full of energy. Let's do it. She reached for the bathroom door, but Jacob quickly caught her hand. Don't. You'll break the handle. After drying off and putting on some clothes, they went out to the backyard. Under the quiet night sky, Jacob spent the next hour guiding Lydia through basic movements, punches, kicks, and balance drills, helping her learn how to control her new strength without destroying everything around her. By the time they were done, Lydia had better control. They finally returned to bed, ready to rest. Chapter 40. Allison and Styles gain new strength. The next morning, Allison woke up early and drove straight to Jacob's mansion. Parking in front, she noticed a sleek gray Rolls-Royce Ghost sitting in the driveway. Her brows lifted. Is someone visiting Jay? Whoever it is must be insanely rich if they're driving this. She stepped inside the mansion, but the house was quiet. No Jacob. No Lydia. Allison frowned. Don't tell me they're still asleep. It's already 10 a.m. Heading upstairs, she pushed open Jacob's bedroom door and found him and Lydia asleep, wrapped around each other. Allison clenched her jaw in annoyance but forced herself to take a deep breath. With a sigh, she walked over and sat down at Jacob's side, her expression softening as she gazed at him. He looks so cute when he's sleeping, she thought. Suddenly, Jacob grabbed her, and pulled her into his arms. His lips brushed her ear as he murmured, "Good morning, beautiful." Allison blinked in surprise. You're awake. Jacob smirked without opening his eyes. Yeah, I woke up the moment you arrived in front of the mansion. But I really don't feel like getting out of bed. Lydia and I didn't fall asleep until 5 this morning. Her eyes narrowed. And what exactly were you doing until 5? We had a bath together. Jacob replied lazily, stretching. And, let's just say we found plenty of other fun things to do. Allison's cheeks puffed in a pout, and she started pinching his arm. Jacob laughed. Are you jealous? How about we take a shower together right now? Allison shot him a glare. No way. I'm not showering with you. But I am hungry, so how about you make me breakfast? He tilted his head. Didn't Victoria feed you? She usually doesn't let you leave the house without breakfast. When I woke up, no one was home. She didn't even make anything for me like she usually does. They probably went hunting. Jacob muttered as he slipped out of bed. He glanced at Lydia still soundly asleep and said, she won't be up anytime soon, so let's not disturb her. Allison folded her arms. Seriously, what did you two do last night? Jacob smirked. About that, follow me. I'll show you. Confused, Allison trailed after him down the hall until he stopped at another bedroom. She leaned on the doorframe, raising a brow. Well, are you going to tell me or not? Instead of answering, Jacob dragged her inside, shut the door, and said with a grin. All right, take your clothes off. Her face went red. No way. You promised me at least a few dates before we do that. Jacob flicked her forehead with a laugh. What are you thinking, pervert? I just want to give you this. From his pocket dimension, he took a vial filled with glowing green liquid and placed it in her hand. Allison eyed it suspiciously. What is this? Something that will make you as strong as a beta werewolf. Jacob said calmly. Her eyes widened. Seriously. Seriously. She studied him with narrowed eyes. Then why do I have to take my clothes off? Jacob smirked. Because you're going to sweat a lot. Lydia sweated for about an hour yesterday before her body adjusted. Trust me, you'll want to sit in the bathtub until it's over. Allison nodded and drank the potion. Almost instantly, heat spread through her body. She gasped and hurried toward the bathroom. Don't peek. she warned before slipping inside. Jacob waited outside until Allison had undressed and filled the bathtub, then he entered the bathroom. Allison covered herself with her hands, cheeks red. What are you doing in here, you pervert? Jacob smirked. Taking a bath with you, of course. He was only wearing shorts, which he casually removed before stepping into the tub. Without giving her a chance to protest, he scooped her into his arms and slid into the hot water with her. Warm water surrounded them as Jacob wrapped his arms around her. Relax, he murmured. I won't do anything. I just want to hold you like this for a while. Blushing furiously, Allison slowly relaxed. She leaned her head against his chest, letting out a soft sigh. By the way, what exactly does the potion I drank do? Jacob gently ran a hand through her damp hair. It'll give you rapid healing, super strength, and speed, once your body finishes absorbing it. A smile tugged at her lips. She turned in his arms and kissed him until they were both breathless. Resting her head against him again, she whispered. Thank you. Jacob smirked. That thank you kiss didn't feel sincere enough. Allison rolled her eyes. You're already hugging me while I'm naked. What more do you want? And could you stop poking me with your thing? Jacob chuckled. Sorry. I can't control him. Maybe you could use your hand to help him fall asleep. Allison gave him a playful glare. I'd love to, but my hands are numb and tingly. I can feel my body getting stronger, but at the same time I feel weak. It's a weird feeling. So, sorry, no help. Jacob sighed dramatically. That's a shame. But I'm satisfied just hugging you, so I won't complain. Allison smiled softly. Can you tell me what happened after you dropped me home yesterday? Jacob recounted everything, what happened at the hospital, his fight with Peter, and the strange creature he killed deep in the woods. Allison listened quietly, occasionally glancing at him with admiration. They stayed like that until Allison's body fully absorbed the Mirakuru, then went to the backyard to spar. At first, Allison was struggling to control her new powers, but soon she got the hang of it while fighting Jacob. Jacob blocked one of her kicks and grinned. You didn't tell me you were this good at fighting. Other than archery, my dad made me learn mixed martial arts when I was 6. I stopped training at 15. I'm a little rusty, but I used to be really good at it. Allison said with a smirk, throwing a punch. Jacob caught her fist mid-swing and chuckled. Yeah, I can see that. He suddenly lifted her over his shoulder, ignoring her protests. All right, that's enough. We've been sparring for more than an hour. You've already got a good handle on your strength. Let's shower and then eat. Carrying her back inside, they shared a quick shower before heading to the kitchen. Jacob casually pulled several cooked meals from his pocket dimension and set them on the table, making Allison's eyes widen in surprise. As they sat down to eat, Lydia walked into the kitchen, her hair still a little messy from sleep. Good morning, you two. Good morning, sleepyhead. Jacob teased. Lydia kissed him on the cheek, then glanced at Allison. So, you drank that potion too? Allison smiled proudly. Yep. How about we spar after we eat? Lydia shook her head immediately. No thank you. I saw you fighting Jay in the backyard. You're really good at fighting. I'm not sparring with you. Come on, it'll be fun. Allison insisted. No, it won't. Lydia said flatly. Allison sighed. You're boring. They all chuckled, then focused on eating. Halfway through, Allison glanced at Jacob and asked. By the way, Jay, whose silver car is parked outside? Jacob grinned. It's mine. I bought it, and it got delivered yesterday. Allison raised a brow. Isn't that a waste of money? That car's insanely expensive, and you already have one. Why buy another? Jacob leaned back with a smirk. Because I'm a dragon, Allison. I love shiny things. Allison blinked. So the myth about dragons loving treasure is actually true. Yep. Jacob said casually. One day, I'll probably fill an entire room with gold and just swim in it. Allison stared at him. Are you serious? Totally. Lydia shifted the topic. By the way, is the Alpha going to keep killing people in town? Probably. Jacob answered without hesitation. Allison frowned. Why didn't you stop him? Jacob shrugged. Why should I? He's taking revenge for his family, and those people he killed deserve to die. The playful mood instantly grew heavy. Jacob set his fork down and looked at both girls with a serious expression. Listen carefully. From the moment you two became my mates, you need to understand something. The supernatural world is cruel and bloody. We'll face enemies, and sometimes we'll have to kill to survive. You both need to prepare yourselves for that reality. Lydia swallowed hard. Are you really saying, you'd kill someone? Yes. Jacob said firmly. If anyone tries to harm me, or either of you, I won't hesitate. I'll kill them without mercy. Both Allison and Lydia fell silent, nervous at the weight of his words. Jacob softened his tone. But don't worry too much. If you don't want to fight or kill, I won't force you. I'll handle it all myself if I have to. Allison shook her head, her voice steady. No. I'll stand by your side, Jay. We'll fight together. And, if it comes to killing, then I'll do it. Lydia hesitated before speaking quietly. I'll fight beside you too, but I don't think I can take a life. Jacob reached over and gently squeezed her hand. That's okay, Lydia. Don't worry too much. No one's attacking us anytime soon. Now let's finish our meal and talk about something else. The tension eased as they changed the subject. After finishing their meal, Jacob took both girls shopping. They spent hours browsing stores, trying on clothes, and laughing together. Around 5 p.m., Victoria called Allison and told her to come home. Jacob drove her back to the mansion, where she said goodbye and left in her own car. Afterward, Jacob took Lydia on a proper date, first to a fancy restaurant for a romantic dinner, then to the movie theater. When the night ended, Jacob drove her back to the mansion, where she picked up her own car and returned home, smiling. When he was finally alone, Jacob pulled out his phone, sent a quick text to Styles telling him to come over, then leaned back and said in his mind, "System, sign in. Daily sign-in successful. Rewards obtained. Ribeye Wagyu steak times 30. $50,000. A replica of Rorano Azoro's katana Shisui." Jacob grinned. Great. All the rewards are great for a daily sign-in. He pulled out the katana, admiring the craftsmanship, and swung it around a few times. After a bit of playful testing, he stored it back in his pocket dimension, and started watching anime while waiting for Styles. After 15 minutes, Styles arrived. Jacob let him in, and they both settled into the living room. Jacob took out the vial of Mirakuru serum, explained what it was, and handed it to him. Styles narrowed his eyes suspiciously. Are you sure there aren't any side effects? Jacob smirked. I already told you, no side effects. Well, actually, I lied. You might grow donkey ears if you drink it. So, hand it back. Styles clutched the vial protectively. No way, I'm not giving it back. I'll trust you. Just this once. Without hesitating further, he uncorked the vial and downed it in one go. Almost immediately, his face flushed as his body heated up. Jacob pointed toward the hall. Go to the guest room you slept in last time. Get in the tub until your body stops sweating. Once you're done absorbing the potion, be careful not to break anything, and just get some sleep. Tomorrow morning, I'll help you get used to your new strength before we head to school. Got it. Styles muttered, already sweating as he hurried off to the guest room. Jacob returned to his own bedroom, lay down on the bed, and sighed. I wish Lydia and Allison would just stay here with me instead of going back to their houses. I should probably go get Malia soon, she'd definitely stay here with me. Then another thought struck him. Oh, right, I still haven't summoned that psychopath Cogman. But since the Transformers movies and cartoons exist in this world, I'll wait until everyone's here before summoning him. That way, I won't have to explain why a freaking Transformer suddenly appeared out of nowhere. I'll just say, it's magic. He chuckled. I bet that's going to blow their minds, knowing that the world of movies might be real. Especially Styles, he is gonna lose it. To be continued, smile. If you like this story and want to support me, please go to patreon.com/aubams926.